those rules, you're going to get freaking banned, quite frankly. So let's go ahead and hop into things. Maybe real quick before we hop into the debates for the day, if you haven't been here before, if this is literally your first time ever seeing me, could you let me know down below in that chat? I always love asking that question because I just find it almost impossible that there's like new people in this stream every single time we go live, but yet there always is. Like, look at that. There's a handful of people down below in the chat that have never seen me before. That's super cool. For everybody that hasn't been in the stream before, we basically debate Trump supporters all day until we rage quit. The purpose of it is to try to change the minds of the people that are listening in. So that's you guys, the people on the live. And then also just to generally inspire people to critically think and even give some of y'all some education. So we're going to hop into those debates. Let's get that first guest loaded up in here. Once again, we're going to be hard rules today. I already appreciate everyone that's spamming the rules in the chat so much. You guys are lovely. Welcome in, Scott. Do you support Trump? Okay, he left on his own. Scott, I'm going to go ahead and ban you right now because I still could see who was up on my live, so I just banned you, Scott. Let's go to move on to the next guest, everyone. Just give us a minute. We got ASAP. Welcome in, ASAP. Do you support Trump?
Grandma.
Okay, and you're banned. Goodbye. Moving on to that next guest, everybody. I wish that you guys would follow the rules so you don't got to get banned. Let's go to get that next guest loaded up in here right now. What's going on? Are you Maga? Do you support Trump?
Do you vape?
No, I have an anxiety pin. Are you Maga?
Do you vape?
I just answered that question. Did you hear my answer?
Do you vape? Because you're asking me a question, so I'm asking you a question.
I know, but like I already answered it. I said no.
Well, like, I like the rage bait, you know?
Okay, so do you support Trump?
Well, like, yes and no, because, like, I don't...
Banned. Moving on to the next guest. Let's go to get that next guest up in the queue, guys. Make sure if you're in that queue that you support Trump, y'all. Everyone, just give us a minute to get that next guest loaded into the live, y'all. For everybody that's already tuning in, for the first 3.5 thousand of you guys, I appreciate you for being here. Make sure that you're double tapping on that phone screen, sharing out the stream with a handful of friends and spamming that chat, y'all. Welcome in. Do you support Trump?
Of course, no.
Banned. Have a good one. Make sure that you're following the rules. Once again, the rules are simple. Got to be at least 18 years old, from America and MAGA, y'all. Make sure that we're following those rules. Moving on to our next guest, we're going to go ahead and load Billy up. We're going to load... Banned. Moving on to the next guest, everyone. Just give us a minute. Apologize, y'all had to hear that. We got Lone Wolf loading in, as well as we got Joseph loading in. We're going to try to get one Trump supporter up here to debate. What is going on?
Holy fucking shit, it's Dean.
What's up, Joseph? Do you support Trump?
Oh my god. No, I don't.
Okay, then you just got banned. Welcome in, Lone Wolf. Do you support Trump?
I do.
Okay, and how old are you?
27.
Great, and what year were you born in?
97.
97? What month?
September.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Well, what's your name?
My name's Kayla.
Kayla, it's a pleasure to meet you. Kayla, quickly, before we hop into the debate, I'm just going to go ahead and start the live stream over on YouTube, too. So we do a live stream on TikTok and on YouTube. You'll be the first guest of the day. I'm super excited to have a conversation with you. It'll only take around 10 seconds here, Kayla. No time at all. So if you wouldn't mind just hanging out, that would be great. Hello and welcome in to everybody tuning in over on that YouTube live stream. Thank you so much for being here for the afternoon. We're going to go ahead and hop into debates with Americans that support Trump for the next 4 hours. We're going to be talking to Maga about everything A through Z, from Trump's authoritarianism to his unconstitutional legislation, executive orders, to his terrible domestic and economic policy, to his very atrocious character. But more so, we're just trying to figure out how so many Americans still find a way to support him. We have our very first guest of the day, Miss Kayla, already loaded up into the stream. Kayla, if you'd like to take it away and tell us why you support Trump, you have my attention.
Well, I voted for him because I like his policies. I like the no taxation on tips. I like the policy regarding the border. And I actually do support the tariffs because I feel that everything is just far too expensive. And I feel that he's going to help the economy.
Okay, so about your first point, arguing that you support him because of no tax on tips, what income bracket do you fall within, if you don't mind sharing?
I'm.
Would you say that you're around the average American or above the average?
I get by. I'd say I'm about the average American, yes.
Okay. Well, no tax on tips was passed through what bill?
That I do not know.
The Big Beautiful Bill. And the Big Beautiful Bill, when we consider, like the other 830 pages, and we're not just looking at no tax on tips, will actually hurt the average American because of its cuts to energy production, making the average American pay an additional $500 for energy per year. It's cuts to the DOE, cutting 18 million school students off of free school student lunches. So now parents are going to have to spend more on food for their kids. Cuts to food stamps. 3 million Americans are losing those. Cuts to healthcare. 10 million Americans are losing those. Now the premiums for those that are not cut off of Medicaid are now expected to go up by 75% because of these cuts and others. The big beautiful bill is estimated to put the average American more in the red than it's putting them in the green. So you really shouldn't support their approach to reducing your taxes because at the end of the day, you're still going to have less purchasing power. Now, to your second point, you told us that you support Donald Trump's border policy. Which one?
Well, I just believe that if you're coming into this country illegally, then there should be a process to get you, either back to the country that you came in from or to legally get you here.
So you think that you should either be deported or offered a pathway to residency and citizenship?
I do. I will say I don't necessarily agree with the way that people are being, handled and deported at this time, but I do believe that if you're coming in illegally into the country, that you should have some type of system where you pass certain tests or you do what you got to do and then you get your citizenship. I don't think that just anybody should be allowed in.
Okay, so then what are you telling me what Donald Trump is doing? What do you support about what he's doing? Do you support his mass deportation?
I support the idea of not letting people over our border like Biden did.
Okay, so you support the idea of slowing undocumented entry into the country. And what is a good policy Trump has implemented to slow undocumented entry?
Well, I just know that he says that he is closing the borders.
So you support him based upon something that he says. I want you to tell me something that you know he's doing, such as his policy, that makes you support him. Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's been good policy that has slowed undocumented entry. I think it's been fascism.
I mean, I know that my grocery bills at the store compared to when Biden was in office are better.
I don't know why you're lying. I don't know why you're lying. You could go to BLS.gov and look at inflation specifically for the price of grocery goods and other commodities, and you'll see that they've become more expensive in the last 200 days. Since January until now, the price of every single good in the grocery store has gone up outside of lemons and iceberg lettuce. So unless you're only buying lemons and iceberg lettuce to survive, you have been paying more for groceries.
Well, I mean, I know what I spend at the grocery store, sir, and I don't believe that what I'm spending now is, worse off than how it was when Biden was in.
Okay, so the country average is worse off. Now, if you're telling me that you're one of the outliers in the store that you specifically go to because of your local economy is more affordable for you, you definitely can't blame that on Trump. And if you can, well, then tell me why he's only made your groceries less expensive, but then he's made them more expensive for the average American.
I mean, maybe they're all, I don't shop at Whole Foods or,
Neither does the average American. So I don't know why you're referencing Whole Foods.
because if I'm shopping at Aldi, I'm shopping at Kroger, I'm shopping at,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
have
where
to
the
go
average
and get
that's where the average
organic.
American shops, and that's where prices have gone up on average. So tell me, how has Donald Trump reduced the price of your groceries, but he hasn't reduced the price of the average American's groceries? Explain that to me.
I'm just saying, I'm just going off of my personal life, and I know that my groceries and my overall life just feels
So
less expensive.
you're just blaming things that are happening in your personal life, but not happening to anybody else or the average American, and saying that Donald Trump caused them. Like, this is like if my girlfriend were to break up with me tomorrow, I could be like, Trump caused that, and my argument would be just as valid as your own. I just want to point that out. Drew, thank you for the motorcycle. I appreciate you for the love. Like, I feel like this is like just a sense of you projecting like your shit onto the president with no reason at all. Like, God, you know what? There's a really good deal running on these Cheez-Its in my grocery store the other day. Trump must have caused it. Oh, I ran through the first Cheez-It box that I bought in literally 2 days. Trump caused that. There's been less cars parked along my neighborhood in the last 200 years. It's been easier to get in and out of my house. Trump caused that. See, every single one of these positions is just as valid as your own. Why are you blaming random shit that's happening in your personal life on the president? That's insane.
Sir, you asked me to tell you why my life is better because of Trump. I'm telling you, my groceries are cheaper. My life is just better quality overall. I know that I'm safe. I know that,
How has Donald
drugs are
Trump
not
made your
coming.
1 second? How has Donald Trump made your groceries cheaper?
I'm assuming the tariffs did their job because
Tariffs make
I
groceries more expensive. You picked probably the worst industry of products to choose when referencing the implementation of tariffs. You understand that we would expect groceries to definitely be more expensive because of the tariffs, because there's a lot of groceries that we have to import since we can't even produce them here. Like coffee that you buy in the grocery store, more expensive. We can't even make coffee here. Mangoes in off season, more expensive. In off season, we can't even make mangoes here. Pineapples, same deal, right?
Well,
And we
okay,
can
but
just
I'm not
follow that
buying
down all the way.
mangoes and pineapples. I live a very I buy bread and eggs and butter and those things. I'm telling you are less expensive
Okay.
than they were when Biden was in
Okay, I have a
office.
question. What is a tariff?
It's a bill.
A bill? What do you mean by bill?
It's a bill to make things less expensive when buying from overseas.
So you think that tariffs make foreign goods less expensive?
I mean, that's what he said he was going to do with them.
So tariffs make goods produced in other countries more expensive, not less expensive. And they're supposed to make them more expensive. That's like how they protect American industries. Like the idea of a tariff is maybe like we can make bread in the US for $3, but we can make bread in China for $1. So then China starts selling their bread for $1 in the American marketplace. And because it's more competitively priced than the bread made by American producers, because of maybe like a lower cost of the raw materials, access to more wheat, and like lower paid labor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then they turn around and they sell it for $1 instead of $3, right? So then what the tariff will do is they'll just charge like either a flat fee or a percentage rate as a tax to the importer of that Chinese bread. And then the hope is that that importer will then pass that off to the consumer when they buy the Chinese bread. So then they're paying more for it. So instead of like paying $1 for the Chinese bread, all of a sudden they're paying $3.50, making the American made bread that still costs $3 the more attractive option, right? But either way you go, if you are still buying that Chinese bread, you're paying more. And if the increase in the price of the Chinese bread made you go and buy the American bread, you're paying more. There's no situation where a tariff will reduce the price of a good.
And how do you prove this?
I just gave you the proof. I explained to you how tariffs work, what they're supposed to do, their function in protecting American industries, etc. I just gave you the proof, right?
Okay.
Another way of proof is these tariffs are like 30%, right?
I mean, yeah.
Do you think that like good not good, big American importers, like these multi-billion-dollar companies that sell you groceries, operate at profit margins that are closer to like 3 or 4%, or operate at profit margins above 30%?
I'm sorry. What was it? I'm reading these quotes. I'm reading these
Just talk
comments.
to me.
Everybody.
Don't read the comments. So big American importers that sell you goods, commodities, and groceries, do they operate at profit margins closer to 2, 3, or 4%? Or do they operate at profit margins closer to like 20, 30, 40%?
I would guess their profit is bigger.
Well, no, their profit margins are like 3 or 4 or 5%. They just sell a lot, so that's still a big chunk of change at the end of the year, right? They don't even have the leeway to absorb a 30% tariff. They have to pass it off to the consumer to stay in business.
Honestly, Dean, I sit here and I watch you sometimes, and the stuff that you say does make sense. And I obviously I don't know much about these tariffs. I don't know it as in depth as you, that's for sure. And
That's fine. That's why I do these lives. You're all good. That's why I'm
I
talking to you.
really do appreciate you because it gives me something to think about. I voted for him both times, and I'm hearing all this negative stuff. And you're right. I do go off of my own life experience and the things that I said. But I also live a very simple life, so I don't know that. Is it harder for other people? I don't know. So
Yeah.
you gave me something to think about.
Listen, at the end of the day, I bet that you are like very knowledgeable and intelligent about like things that you're personally interested in or things that you do for work, and you just don't really focus too much on politics. So you're obviously not going to be too informed, knowledgeable, or intelligent about politics, right? And that's kind of like the role that I think that these streams serve is to try to help give you that helping hand to like push for more growth, exploration of truth and reason. Because I do ultimately believe that once you become aligned with the data, the facts, the reason, and the logic, you reject Trump like not 10 out of 10 times. You will start hating the guy the more intelligent and informed you become on politics. So I appreciate you for coming up and thank you for hearing me out. And I hope that you stick around and learn more. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, let's go and move on to the next guest, everyone. Make sure if you're in that queue that you're following the rules. Got to be at least 18, American and MAGA. Follow them rules, y'all. We're going to go to get that next guest loaded into the stream right now, everybody. We got Gare Bear loading in. Gare Bear, what a name. Quite frankly, for the 9,000 people that have now joined us over on TikTok, I appreciate every single one of y'all for being here. Thank you so much for being here. It's awesome to have every single one of y'all in here with us for the day. I'd like to quickly thank Charity for the $25 over on PayPal. Charity didn't leave a message, just the love. Charity, thank you so much. If we could please get 250 Charity W's down below to mean the world to me. Once again, Charity, thank you so much. Welcome in, Doom Lover. Do you support Trump?
My bad, Dean. I'm not 18. I didn't even know I was requesting.
Damn, dude's like 12 and he fucks with Doom? What a base little kid, dude. I wish I was as cool as him when I was 12. Let's go and move on to the next guest. Damn. Imagine being that cool at like 12 years old. Welcome in. What's going on, Lily? Do you support Trump?
No.
Banned! Moving on to the next guest. Go ahead and put a Maga down below with your age. If you want to come up and have a debate, guys, make sure that you're following those rules. Moving on to BB32 right now, everybody. Let's go to get that next guest loaded up in here right now. Okay, they left. We're going to start pulling people up from the chat compared to the queue. So if you want to come up here and skip that line, let me know. We have a lot of trolls in the queue. I mean, as per usual, we're pretty used to it. Just don't troll, bro. We're going to go ahead and bring up this second guest, too. My guess is that he's like 12 because of his name. Oh, he already left once he heard me say that. Okay, none of them are loading in. We got D-Man53 attempting to connect right now. Let's see if D-Man will load up. What's going on, D-Man? Do you support Trump?
I ain't
Banned! Moving on to the next guest. Sorry, y'all had to hear that. Let's go to move on to the next guest. No name, everyone. Just give us a second. Just looking for a Trump supporter to come up here and have a debate with us insofar as why they support Trump. Hello, do you support Trump?
Fuck Kamala.
Banned. Oh, wait, fuck. Come back. Sorry. No, it's too quick. Come back up. Listen, I'm sorry. It's too trigger happy. Come back up. Hop back in that queue. Hop back in that queue right now. Hop back in that queue. Hop back in that queue. It's too quick. Woo! Need to get better at that trigger control. You know what I mean? Hop back in that queue, no name. We'll get you right back up here. My fault. He didn't automatically say yes, so he got banned. Welcome in, Delaney. Do you support Trump?
Dean, I'm so sorry. No, not at all.
Banned. Moving on to the next guest. Let's go ahead and get HAWARI up in the box. Okay. All right. Everyone just give us a minute here. Welcome in. Are you Maga?
Yeah,
Okay. How old are you?
19.
What year you were born in?
2000.
Banned! Moving on to the next guest. Everyone just give us a minute. Let's go to get RJ up in the box. We got RJ loading in right now, everybody. Follow the rules. It'll be simple. Welcome to RJ. Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 19.
What year were you born in?
Sorry. Holy shit, I'm nervous. My bad, bro.
What year?
Holy,
Banned. Moving on to the next guys. Alex, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat, saying third time donated and keep fighting Magazine. Alex, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I do remember you from the other day. Thank you so much for being in here. Everybody show some love to Alex down below. Y'all just don't break the rules and you won't get banned. Little Fish, thank you for the $10 over on Super Chat, saying, hi Dean, love what you do and watch you every day now. I was curious if you've had streaming tips, struggling to live financially and scared for my future because of Cheeto Man, and I was considering game streaming. Honestly, like I'm just gonna be real. Like the only reason why I'm a big streamer is because I got lucky. But if I could give you general tips, it's just to make sure that you're producing high quality content, engaging with the chat, and being consistent. Welcome in, Kevin. Do you support Trump?
Are you a D1?
Banned. Moving on to the next guest. Let's go and get that next guest up in here. We got Jack Alter loading into the box. Let's see here. Libby, thank you for the $15 over on Venmo for the trigger control therapy. Dude, thank you for the love, Libby. Show some love to Libby down below. Libby, it's good to have you in here again today as always. As well as Susan with the $10 on Venmo saying great job. Thank you for being here, Susan. All the love in the world to you. Show some love to Susan down below. Welcome in, Jack. Do you support Trump?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, and how old are you?
Hello.
I'm 23. I was born in 2001.
Great. What about you, Grady?
Yes, I support Trump.
And how old are you?
I'm 20 years old and I was born in 05.
Really? I don't believe you. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't believe you at all. Take it away, Jack. Why do you support Trump?
I really wanted to ask you one of the things Trump has done and how you feel about it. That's okay.
Okay. Have you
Like I wanted to
before?
ask your. I have, yes.
Banned, sorry. We only talked to people one time. I didn't actually ban you, but I did remove you. Welcome in. Do you support Trump?
Dean, it's me, your favorite person to debate. I'm back. Let's go. And I just played a beautiful song.
Is that La La Land?
Yeah, and I played a beautiful song for you.
Very nice, but banned. Moving on to the next guest. Let's go to get the next guest, Jesse, up in the box. Here we go, everybody. Give us a minute here. All right. Abigail, thank you for the £1 over on YouTube. I appreciate you for the love. Let's go to now move on to the next guest. What's up, Jesse White? Do you support Trump?
Bro, Dean, I love you so much, and fuck Trump.
Oh, I appreciate you for the love. But banned. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go, guys. Follow the rules. Make sure if you're in the queue that you're 18 years old at least, preferably above, and that you support Trump. That's all. All right, let's go to move on to the next guest. If you want to skip the line of trolls, go ahead and just let me know down below if you support Trump. I'll happily get you up here. Ace, why the hell are you back?
Hey, man, I just look, you ain't getting a bunch of people on here anymore, bro.
I know. It's because all the Trump supporters know that if they come up here, they'll lose.
Yeah, you're going to have to get that Mai Tai a little early, huh?
I know. It's just all the Trump supporters are like really scared of losing, except for you. You're not scared of losing. You embrace the loss. Now,
yes, I do.
Welcome in, Liam. Do you support Trump?
Yes.
Okay, how do you?
19.
Okay, what year are you born in?
2006.
Okay, all right. Why do you support Trump, Liam?
Because you're a pussy ass, broke ass bitch, and I hate you.
Okay, so
yeah, you're a pussy.
We're definitely hearing some big emotion now, Liam. The one thing I will ask you to do is to go back to the comment section while we look for that next guest. I'll give it up. I was about to start throwing some heat back at him, but we're just gonna kick him and move on. Banned. Let's go to get that next guest up in
Not
here.
gonna lie, fuck Trump, bro. All the Mexicans.
Okay, banned. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go, everyone. Just give us a minute. We got Megan loaded up into the box. Here we go, everybody. All right. So, I mean, yeah, Liam was a Trump supporter. I guess he didn't want to debate. You know, I just want to say, for all like the Trump supporters out there, that's a bad look. You know, we have close to 11,000 people in the stream right now, and your only champion who's been willing to come up here and debate just came up here with some big feelings. That makes y'all look terrible. I just want to point that one out there. It makes you look so bad. Like, if there happens to be like one person out of the crowd of like 11,000 people in here that actually supports the president, that's at least 18, stand the fuck up. Because right now, y'all look terrible. In fact, I might even say y'all are dead. Like, MAGA is dead. Like, there's no MAGA left. They aren't willing to entertain conversation because they know that they're wrong. So, I mean, keep that in mind, especially when we have so many people in here and we can't find one person to debate. Welcome in, Little Fish. Little Fish, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. Appreciate you for the love. As well as Naughty with the $10 saying, love what you do. MAGA super emotional. No, I know. Thank you for the love, Naughty. Welcome in, Megan. Do you support Trump?
Definitely.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 27.
And why the hell do you support the worst president of your life?
Actually, he's done a lot for our country.
Like what, Megan?
Like supporting us making money rather than other countries.
Us making money? Are you talking about like the country's income or like your income?
The country as a whole, I guess.
Oh, are you talking about like the surpluses we've seen in like the government revenue?
I mean, if you're from a different country and you're coming in illegally, I believe you should have to.
What the hell? I don't know what immigration has to do with the conversation about our government revenue surplus or deficit. I don't know. Real quick, are you driving? Megan, hello?
Hello.
Are you driving?
I'm sitting in my car, yeah.
Okay, but you're not driving?
No.
Okay, is that just like the AC running?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. To quickly prove that, could you just like turn it off for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that did prove it. Okay, take it away. So, tell us why you support Trump. Let's just start from the top. Go ahead.
Like I said from the beginning, all the good things that he's done for us is in like making it the tariffs, like you were just talking about a minute ago. That's a good one.
Okay, why do you like his tariffs?
Because a lot of people are coming in, like they are using transportation to transport drugs.
Whoa!
I
You
mean,
can't say that. Just spell it out. DRUGS. I don't know why. It's just TikTok
Yeah.
TOS. But did you know that
Yeah,
the DRUGS that are illegally brought into this country are not being tariffed because they're being illegally brought into this country?
well, a lot of it is coming through. I mean, even if you watch the news or anything else, I mean, it's coming through any way it can.
Well,
We're just getting
I know, but if it's
that
coming
way.
in illegally, then of course it's not going to be tariffed. Like duh. And then on a second hand here, if they're legally coming in, if they're being declared to customs, that means that those are like pharmaceutical DRUGS that are sold to
I mean,
people
they have
that
a
need
bigger
them
chance of
and
getting
prescribed
stopped
by
that
a
way.
doctor. So why do you want to make pharmaceuticals that are needed by people to live more expensive?
That's just the way the world works. I mean, everything's going to cost money. Nobody's getting anything for free, right?
No, but I'm not telling you why do you support them costing money. I'm asking you why do you support them costing more money because of Trump's tariffs.
I believe that the U.S. can make their own things, and we don't have to get things from other countries. We can support ourselves.
Okay, but like pharmaceutical drugs, for instance, like if they're less expensive being produced in another country, we should allow them to continue to be sold in American markets because that ultimately means that they'll be less expensive to the end consumer. Like, can we agree here that like
The main thing it is
listen,
like, why are
Megan,
we
let me just
making
ask you.
more
Let me
money
ask you a
for the
quick question. Can we agree here that we want life-saving pharmaceuticals to be as inexpensive as possible for American consumers?
I mean, I believe in human rights. But also you have to take into considerations that people here in the U.S. are losing jobs because we're not building these pharmacies that, I mean, the pharmaceuticals aren't being made here.
Okay. So I would rather there be less pharmaceutical jobs in America than more expensive pharmaceuticals.
I guess that's your opinion.
So can we agree that we want pharmaceutical drugs that are life-saving to be as inexpensive as possible for the end consumer?
Like I said, at the end of the day, everything costs money.
That's not what I asked you, nor is that an answer to my question. I didn't ask you if everything costs money. I asked you, can you agree that you want pharmaceutical drugs that save lives to be as inexpensive as possible for the end consumer? Oh, that was too hard of a question. She just had to leave. Bro, Trump supporters are literally getting like gagged by me asking if it should be as affordable as possible to save lives. MAGA is now stunned by the concept that pharmaceuticals that keep people living should be as affordable as possible. They are living on Mars, okay? And thank you for the galaxy. Let me make that point very clear to everybody that is watching. These people don't live on Earth, okay? If you literally cannot answer a question simply asking you if we could agree that life-saving drugs that are legal should be affordable, please don't vote. Ethan, thank you for the draft. I appreciate you for the love. Like, please don't vote. Like, just wait to vote until you, like, are able to at least agree that we shouldn't be making it more expensive to stay alive. It's simple. It's so simple, chat. It is so simple. Welcome in. Do you support Trump?
I miss you, Dean.
Banned! Moving on to the next guest. Only up in that queue if you support Trump, you guys. We've had 2 Trump supporters up on the live so far today. They've not been the smartest, I'll tell you that. And if you're watching and you'd like to support me, you could find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds on those 2 platforms. They go straight to me. As well as you could find the V and the P in the pin message over on YT. Alongside, you could support me on Super Chat. Quickly, before we hop into this next debate, Jaden, thank you for the $5 on PayPal, saying, what's up, Dean? Just wanted to show some love. Appreciate you for that love, Jaden. As well as Charlotte with the $2, and I read your message there. I'm very thankful to have you here. Now, welcome in. Do you support Trump, Kalia?
It's Kylie. My mom had to be cute with it.
Sorry, Kylie. Do you support Trump?
I just wanted to say thank you for all that you do because you've been somebody that's educated me so much, and just wanted to ask you what we can do in the point that we're currently in to make any sort of change going in the opposite.
I'm sorry. Do you have to remove you because we are just looking for Trump supporters? But like, what I do to like get change is to inspire people to critically think. I think everybody has their abilities that they're good at. Something I'm good at is political debate, such as the debates that we engage in here on the live, and that's a way that I advocate for real material change is just by getting people to think. And I think that that is really important because I think that the moment you start thinking, you reject Trump. Welcome in, Rob. Do you support Trump? Robert?
Can you hear me?
Hi, Robert Clay. Are you MAGA?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Zachary, thank you for the $3 over on PayPal, saying I used to be an unintelligent Trump supporter until I started watching your lives. Now I'm not MAGA anymore. Let's go, Zach. Dude, that's so awesome to hear. W. Zach. All right, Mr. Robert Clay, take it away. Why do you support Trump at the end of the day? Whew.
I think he's taking the first step into something that just needed to happen. And he's just getting a lot of flack because, it's got to start at some point. And I don't really know how to word it the best way, but it's just like he's got the balls to be able to stand up for what most of the people that support him believe in, which is just,
You think he has big balls? I think he has tiny, little balls. Very small balls, very small. The smallest we've ever seen. Quite frankly, they're microscopic. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll take this
I didn't know
seriously.
you were-
No,
you were
you're
kinda-
right.
okay.
No, you're right. I'll take this seriously. Okay. So what is Donald Trump doing with his big cojones that really make you support him?
He stands up for most of the stuff that the supporters that we believe in, and most of the people that you've had on so far, I feel like are just complete idiots.
Yeah.
I know that they don't know.
So what specifically does he
keeping up
stand
with
up
what's
for that
going
you agree
on.
with? Like, what is he doing that you're a fan of?
I can name off 1,000 things, but we can start at the beginning. I love what he does in the border. I actually live in Texas. And so he's being able to really help out this area.
Great.
Just because of the amount of troubles that we've had with people coming over, creating crimes, causing havoc.
Yeah.
And even in the last 2 weeks, there's only been over 1,000 or something people that have crossed the border, and it's just chilled out completely.
All right, so you told me that we have all these undocumented immigrants coming over into America, creating crimes and causing havoc. Hey, quick question. What % of total violent crimes do undocumented immigrants account for?
I mean, I can't answer that question off the top of my head,
I
but
can.
I've seen it in real life.
So I can answer that
They've
question.
come through my house, through my property. It's not a good look.
How do you know that they're undocumented? Did you ask them?
Because they got caught. It was all over the news.
I
I didn't have to ask them. The police grabbed them because they were on my property. So.
Oh, so you had an undocumented immigrant on your property that was caught by the police?
Yeah.
Okay, if I have a white man break into my house, is it okay for me to turn around and say, well, now all white men are causing crime and creating havoc because one white man broke into my house?
No.
No, okay. So then that's why I think it's
No,
unfair
but that's
for
a
you to
completely
suggest.
different scenario.
The only difference is
the
the demographic. So in one case, you're saying because an individual that exists as inside of the demographic of being listen to what I have to say before you interrupt me. Let me finish talking.
Let me finish.
No, you let me finish. You're the one that's interrupting me.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to inform you about the whole situation before you start making implications or giving off scenarios that make no sense. Or do you want me to give you more information about what happened?
Well, I think all that I need to know is that you're telling me that you think that undocumented immigrants are violent criminals that are causing all this havoc because one undocumented immigrant walked through your property and got arrested. You have no right to turn around and say because one undocumented immigrant did X, that therefore you could stereotype all undocumented immigrants as doing X. And the data backs me up. Undocumented immigrants commit 1% of all violent crime in this country, and in fact, they're 2.5 times less likely to commit violent crimes on average compared to natural U.S.-born citizens. You, sir, are statistically
No, I
speaking
agree.
more
I
likely to commit
agree.
violent crimes than undocumented immigrants. So if there's any demographic of individuals that you should be stigmatizing as creating havoc, it is men that are born in this country. Although 1% of violent crimes are committed by undocumented immigrants, 90% of total violent crimes are committed by men. But we won't ever hear the right.
And I'm
talking
not
about
saying you're
that.
wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. Those facts are right. But I'm saying that around the area that I live in, there's that 1% is probably in that area. That 2%, whatever the fact says it is.
Okay.
And it's helped me out.
So this is going to be nationwide. So like it's not going to be like localized to one area. I promise. Undocumented
Obviously,
immigrants aren't just breaking the law wherever you live. There's just going to be some undocumented immigrants breaking the law everywhere, alongside every other demographic of individuals in this country. Now I want to clear this up. So would you say that you're tough on crime?
I would say so, yes.
Would you ever support a president that isn't? Like, for instance, if Donald Trump had, I don't know, pardoned like violent criminals that try to beat up unalive cops, would you still support him?
I'd still support. Everybody's gonna have their flaws.
Okay, but you're telling me that we should
Everybody's
we should like rip mothers and fathers away from their families, reduce our GDP by close to $2 trillion per year, and spend $2 trillion in 10 years to get it done because of a misdemeanor. But
No,
then if
we
we have like a
shouldn't do that.
34 count felon that was held civilly liable for
But
rape,
because
that is like
no.
pardoned violent criminals that try to beat up and kill cops on January 6th, such as DJ Rodriguez did, who Donald Trump later let out of 8 years early and called him a patriot.
January
Like, you'll
6th
support
is
him in the
so
Oval
bullshit.
Office? Like, come on, that's just so contradictory.
It's not contradictory. You're making up. No, it's just because there's one thing that he had to do or something that he did doesn't mean that everything else that he does is complete bullshit and horseshit, and that it means that I shouldn't vote for him.
So how's he
To
reducing
be honest,
undocumented
I
entry
wish.
to America?
I wish. So let's say this last election, we had two choices.
Yeah, we did.
We had Kamala and we had Trump.
Yes.
Right.
Kamala, yes.
Kamala, whatever you want to call it.
You were right there.
So, which one would you have chose?
Well, I did choose Harris.
Okay, so if you chose Harris, why did you choose Harris?
I chose Harris because she was significantly better than Trump. If I were to go into the reasons why I chose Harris, this would be a huge deflection away from the premise of this live. Maybe before we hop into a conversation about why I voted for Harris, why I chose Harris over Trump.
I'll tell you why I didn't.
Okay,
I'll tell you why I didn't. There is a big possibility that we'd be going into war no matter what. At some point in the near future, we already fired against Iran, correct?
Yeah, Trump did that.
So we're technically in World War III. It just hasn't been said.
No,
right?
No, we're not technically in World War III because although there's a lot of global conflict, they're not connected. There's enough global conflict that if it were to be connected would mean World War III, but they're just not connected.
Correct. Right. It's borderline, not even close. One of those things.
Okay. So now we're just getting like really far off the original premise. You told me that you voted for Trump.
But I would rather have if we would be getting into war, I would rather have Trump as our leader than I would Kamala.
Kamala is how you pronounce her name, and why is that?
The very beginning, he has more balls.
He has more balls.
I do not.
Wait. Are you saying that he's a man? You'd prefer a man over a woman?
Definitely, when it comes to making decisions in war, and there's no. Let me see.
What skills? I have a question. What skills do you think are required in order to make intelligent decisions in wartime?
People that have gone through those kind of I don't even know how you would say it, but like time and I don't know, like the amount of time you've done something.
Okay, well, I mean, this is ruling Donald Trump out from being a viable wartime president. He literally dodged the draft 5 times. So, like, once again, like, what skills are going to be required to be a viable wartime president?
I think somebody that can make capable and strong decisions in an instance.
Right, like
Quick.
rational
I
decision
don't think
making.
I
right?
don't think
Right,
Kamala
thinking more
would make-
logically.
If,
than
if she,
well,
if
one
she
second,
would
just
go
listen to
onto
what I
a
have to say here.
podcast
Listen to what I have to
and
say.
actually have a
Please-
3-hour
please just-
conversation like Trump does,
Bro, you're
then
saying
I believe
wait.
that
You're
Kamala
saying
can
that
make a
you're saying that
quick
the
decision,
standard.
but all
You're
of her
saying
stuffs are
listen,
just
listen,
reading
listen,
points on
listen.
prompts.
You're saying that the standard for determining who's going to be better during wartime
No,
is going on a
don't-
podcast.
No, that is not it.
I have a question. Who's going to be better for? Who's going to be better? Who's going to
He
be?
can make up
Oh my God.
decisions by himself more than Kamala could.
Kamala's. Once again, how you pronounce her name? You mispronounced it for the last
I would
time.
have a better
I'm
idea
4 seconds away from muting you. I want to be able to speak here.
Okay, go.
Once again, you told me that you think men are better at making decisions during wartime than women, okay? Right? And I'm trying to understand why you said that. Let's stay on that one specific topic without pivot nor deflection, okay? So I asked you what skills are required in order to make good decisions as a wartime president.
Have you
were
been
interrupting me.
around? Have you been around a woman in her late? How old is Kamala?
Kamala is how you pronounce her name for the last
Kamala.
time. Okay, can I finish speaking?
Kamala. I'm Texas. I've got an accent. All right.
Just call her Miss Harris. Okay, can I
Miss
finish
Harris.
speaking without interruption this time?
I was answering your question.
No, you're not. You were asking me a question. You're asking me if I've
Okay,
been around older women. Like, dude, now I'm gonna go back to what I was saying.
I know. Okay.
Dude, fuck. I'm gonna continue to speak now without you interrupting me. So
Okay, go
I
ahead.
asked you why you think that men are going to be better at leading than women in like wartime, or just like what are the skills that are required to be a good president during wartime? And you talked about like decisive, rational decision making. So thinking more like logically and making decisions logically compared to emotionally. Do you think that women are more emotional than men, and that's why you think men would be better?
Around her age, there's this thing called menstrual cycles. And if she is in one, that shit goes crazy. Have you been around?
No, around.
That's where my
Dude,
question.
dude, what the hell is going on? Could you just answer my question
Their
before we
emotions
talk about
are
menstrual
insane.
cycles?
If you're in the middle of war and you need to make a split decision, you have some woman going through a menstrual cycle. How the fuck do you think she can make a split decision? She might, and it might be the worst decision of her life.
Okay, so you're saying that women are more emotional in their menstrual cycles, really? I have a question. What hormone is higher inside of the body of a female on at the peak of their menstrual cycle?
I don't know. You tell me.
Testosterone.
Exactly.
Who has
You
more
get too high-
testosterone on average, men or women?
Men.
Oh.
It doesn't answer the question.
Oh, and then also about
It's like-
about
like the
hormonal cycles in
stupidest
general.
way to-
And then about hormonal cycles in general. Did you know that a man's hormonal cycle is 24 hours long? Oh. And then even just about the claim that women are more emotional than men. If women are more emotional than men, why are men so significantly more likely to engage in emotionally driven behaviors? Violent crime, men, 92%. Drunk driving, reckless driving, men. Self-unaliving, 72% men. Using hard D or UGS as a coping mechanism to deal with unprocessed emotion, 75% men. Whoa, what about things that are like less irrational and emotional and more logical and rational? Going to therapy to deal with your emotions, women. Scoring higher on EQ tests, which is just an academic way to understand how fit you are for dealing with your emotions. Women are higher on average. Oh, and like why? Why do we see that women are better at controlling their emotions on average than men? Because of evolution. What do I mean by this? Women give birth to children. And because of this, evolution gave them A, a higher pain tolerance, and B, a higher stress tolerance to deal with childbirth. Okay, this is clear through the dendritic density on their spines. There's academic papers out the fucking ass that link a higher density and thickness of your dendrites on your spine to a higher pain tolerance and more emotional regulation in the context of stress. Maybe this is why we see women perform better in stressful environments. Did you know that female surgeons outperform male surgeons? The AMA, the American Medical Association, did a study on 1.4 million patients worldwide and compared the outcomes of female surgeons to male surgeons. If you're operated on by a female, you're less likely to experience negative post-operative outcomes or die as a result of your surgery. So this whole idea that women are more emotional than men aligns with no truth. There's no demonstrable empirical data to indicate that it might be true. It's just misogyny, okay? And it's like, I don't like to stereotype one gender as being better at leading than any other gender. But if you had a pew-pew to the side of my head and you forced an answer out of me, I'd say women, right? Because of all the reasons we just went over and more. Now, feel free to come back to the live.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My phone's about to die. I wish I could stay on longer. Literally at 2%.
Then plug it in.
But I appreciate what you've said.
Why don't you just plug it in?
What do you mean? I don't have a charger where I'm at right now. I'm at our winery.
You're at a winery? Why are you like on your phone debating when you're at a winery?
Because that's where I work.
Well, you're obviously not working right now.
I have to watch yeast build up. It takes a while. It takes
Okay. Well, maybe, okay, you have 2% left. You got to leave. One last question for you before you head out. If women are more emotional than men, then how come we see men being more emotional than women on average in every scope, sense of society, narrow and broad on the macro scale, countrywide, or individual on the micro scale, such as sending your fists through your computer screen when you lose a game of Fortnite, or burning your house down when your wife divorces you? And he's gone. And he's out of here. I guess his phone died, everybody. I guess his phone died, chat. I don't know. Nothing to say there. His phone died, everybody. Let's go ahead and move on to the next guest. You know, if you're watching this and you think men are better at leading than women, come up here and give me an argument. In fact, we're going to have our next guest specifically on that topic. If you're watching right now, you're an American adult that supports Trump, go ahead and put a me down below in that comment section if you specifically think that men are better at leading than women. We're gonna have a debate specifically on this. That last conversation got me intrigued. So we're gonna have a debate specifically on this. Go ahead and let me know down below in that chat right now if you're at least 18 years old, you support Trump, you're in America, and you think that men are better at leading than women. We'll get you pulled up here and we'll have a debate. We got Ethan loading in right now, everybody. As well as, hey, Burger, thank you so much for the $50 over on YouTube Super Chat. Appreciate you for that. Love Burger. Burger with a 50 says, it's my late birthday. Wish me happy B-Day. You're my goat, and I love your intelligence and educational awareness. Dude, happy birthday, Burger. Everybody show some love to Burger down below in that chat. Not just for the $50 donation, but also for the B-Day. Hope you're having a good one. As well as Hannah, thank you so much for the $25 over on PayPal, saying my family is Maga and I'm married to a Maga man. Hannah, please get them up on this stream, bro. Let me debate your husband, please, Hannah. Show some love to Hannah down below, y'all. As well as Amanda with the $15. Thank you so much. And then Danielle, thank you so much for the $50 over on PayPal. I appreciate you so much for the love. Thank you. Said, I'll never forgive you for making me think about Trump's balls. I'm sorry, Danielle. Show some love to Danielle. Let's get 500 Danielle W's. Thank you so much. As well as Alexis with the $15 saying, hey, Almi, as a queer non-binary person coming from a very rural bit of the country, I love what you do. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Show some love to Alexis down below in the chat. Thank you for the 15. You are awesome. As well as Daniela with the $25 over on Venmo saying, thank you for everything that you do from a female immigrant. Thank you for being here, Danielle. And thank you for the $15. And then Lauren with a $50 over on Venmo saying, thank you for all that you do. I look forward to your lives every day, getting to watch you prove these Trump supporters wrong. Well, I mean, hopefully now you're going to get to watch me prove a misogynist wrong. So show some love to Lauren down below in that chat. Let's get 500 big Lauren W's for the $50 donation. I seriously do not deserve that at all. And if you're watching and you think that men are better at leading than women, and you're an American adult, go ahead and let me know down below in that comment section. We'll get you pulled up here. Let's have a debate right now. Go ahead and let me know in that chat. We'll get you pulled up here. And yeah, we're going to work on that right now, quite frankly. Adam, thank you so much for the $10 over on PayPal. You were awesome, Adam. Show some love to Adam down below in that chat. Thank you for the $10. We're still looking for a single Trump supporter to come up here and tell us why they think men are better at leading than women. That is the topic right now, folks. What's going on, Tractor Man? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you think that men are better at leading than women?
Yeah, so Donald Trump leads us to the toilet.
Okay. Drago, what's up? You think that men are better at leading than women?
Honestly, I do.
Okay, and how old are you?
22.
All right, take it away. Why do you think men are better at leading than women? Let's hear it.
Well, if it was all women leading, it would be a different story, you know?
Okay, so that, like, not only was it not an argument, the question also didn't make sense. So once again, I'll repeat my
Because,
question.
like,
I want
I
you
feel
to give
like
me an
men
argument
are
for
way
it.
more evil, like you said.
Okay.
So when it comes down to it, if a woman's in charge.
So,
Sorry, I got a lot of anxiety.
I have a question. Are you a Christian?
No.
No, you're not. Do you think that Jesus was a good leader, though?
I think he was like ran by the Jews to portray God.
Okay, let's call Jewish individuals, but like what?
Like the
I'm
Jews
sorry,
are like trying to portray God.
I'm just like what? That is like saying that Jesus was ran by Jewish individuals is like so abundantly insane for about 1 billion reasons that are self-evident. In fact,
Well,
it's
if you
so
look
insane
at
that
to,
I'm just
like,
going to ignore it.
Our parents.
So why do you think that men are better at leading than women? What kind of statement was that?
You keep on.
Yeah,
keep on muting me.
because I'm fucking terrified of you.
I'm
Sorry,
just
man.
answering I'm answering your question.
So why do you think men are better at leading than women? Let's hear.
I gave 1 point. It's because like you even stated that we have a higher point of just doing causes of murder and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like I would want that to lead.
Okay, why?
Honestly, to keep us safe.
So
Look at Genghis Khan.
You want a murderer to lead to... I have a question. Who's a better leader, MLK or
Everyone was
Hitler?
scared of him. MLK.
Who's more evil, MLK or Hitler?
MLK, but honestly, that was straight.
All right. Well, Chad, I'm trying to find somebody to come up here and tell us why they support Trump, or why they think that men are better at leading than women. Instead, they just want to tell us that Martin Luther King Jr. was more evil than Hitler. Where do these people come from? I mean this so seriously. What the hell? Where do they come from? Welcome in, Angel. Do you think that men are better at leading than women? I'm not done with this yet. I want somebody to give me an argument. Do you think that men are better at leading than women, Angel?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Why?
I feel that women hesitate when serious actions come to play. I feel that there's a moment of hesitation before action's taken. I feel that men just have a better reaction time when it comes to physical threats or I'm not gonna go emotional because men are the emotional gender. But just purely on hesitation alone and just feelings towards physical threats is why I would say.
Can you please give me an example of what you're talking about so I could better understand your point? Because even when you say that you think that men are better at leading than women because women are more likely to hesitate when faced with a physical threat, I'm not so sure that I understand what you're saying. So could you give me an example?
So, okay. So let's say, let's just put this into paraphrase. Let's say Kamala Harris did win. Kamala. Sorry, I mess up her name all the time. But let's say Miss Harris did find out about the same thing in Iran that Trump did. What do you think that she would have done?
I think that she would have stayed out of the conflict.
You think she would have held up to the treaty that Obama had signed?
No, because Donald Trump pulled us out of the treaty. Now, you're still not answering my question. Because remember, the question is, why do you think men are better at leading than women? And you said because women are more likely to hesitate when faced with physical confrontation or some shit. I'm asking you, just a thought experiment, an example to make that point clear so I could better understand what you mean.
Just
Right now,
confrontation.
confrontation, you think that men are more confrontational than women?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay,
Definitely.
And by confrontation, what do you mean?
Like they're more personal about it. The men take it to
No, I'm
a
asking you, can you
personal level.
define confrontation?
An aggressive action or
Aggressive action. So you just think that men are more aggressive than women, and that's what makes them better at leading. I'd actually say that aggressiveness is probably a bad quality of leadership because you're replacing reason-based action with emotionally driven aggression, right? And I mean, who's going to be better at leading, regardless of what they're leading? Obviously, reason-based action is going to be preferable to emotionally driven aggression.
And I can agree with that. I
Okay.
can agree on why you would see those
Okay,
values
so you
and
just agreed
virtues.
with that. So if you think that reason-based action is more preferable than emotionally driven aggression, and you think that men are more likely to engage in emotionally driven aggression than women, and women are less likely to, this just means on average that you actually think women are better at leading than men. Because you agreed qualities that are more true of women and less true of men would indicate one to be better at leadership.
I think women seem to backtrack when confronted with confrontation. I think they
Whoa.
back down from
Now I think
confrontation a lot.
that now you're making an equivocation. When you say backtrack, okay, what do you mean? Because I just think that women are going to be less likely to engage in emotionally driven basis aggression, and this is probably rational to do. I would say it is rational to avoid needless aggression, right?
To a point. I mean, if you rule with a firm hand, you more than likely are going to get results, right?
Okay, but now I feel like we're talking about something else entirely. I don't think just because women are less likely to engage in emotionally driven aggression that they're less likely to quote unquote rule with a rationally firm hand.
Do you have an example of someone
My
or
mom.
even a politician who was
my
a
mom.
woman?
my mom would
Who
be an
was a
example. There you go.
Oh, okay. I guess I paraphrased that wrong. That's my fault. But can you give me an example of a woman politician who was confronted with a physical confrontation or verbal confrontation where she instead ruled with a firm hand instead of a soft
I don't
one?
even know that the question, like, does anybody like truly understand the question he's asking? Can you give me an example of a woman that was a politician and a leader and was faced with aggression or violence and ruled with a firm hand instead of a soft one? Bro, dude, I'm so sorry. The only thing soft here is your fucking brain, right? Like, what are we doing here? Like, you're just regurgitating age-old misogyny that is resulting in the systemic oppression and limiting of opportunity of women and girls, not just in our own country, but on like the global scale. For why? Because you know, like the light bulb's kind of flickering and you don't really have a good idea of what's going on, nor do you possess a good argument. Like shit, I'm up here trying to have an argument, a debate with people that think men are better at leading than women because I want to be more informed about your view, but the debate can't progress because you don't even have a cogent argument. Right? You started off by saying that you think that men are more likely to engage in emotionally driven aggression. And I was like, okay, this just means that women are more likely to engage in reason-based decision-making. And then I was like, which one is more preferable for leadership? You said reason-based decision-making, so this makes women better at leading on average. And then you completely ignored that. And what's your new argument? Repeat it. What's your new argument? Let's be clear. Why do you think men are better at leading than women?
Can you tell me a time that Kamala Harris
Kamala is how you pronounce her name?
Miss Harris. Can you tell me a time during Miss Harris's vice presidency that she was confronted with conflict?
I'm not going to answer your question. Why? Because it is the least relevant question you could possibly ask when I am asking you to give an argument that men are better at leading than women.
And I'm getting to the point.
Kamala Harris has nothing to do with the point. What the fuck does Kamala Harris have to do with the point?
Because she was a woman.
Oh, because she's a woman. Oh, because she's a woman. Yeah, I get it. Okay, so then I could say that men are more emotional than women because Donald Trump was more emotional than Kamala Harris. I could say that women are more intelligent than men because Kamala Harris was more intelligent than Trump. I could say that men are significantly more violent and morally grotesque than women because Donald Trump was an adjudicated rapist, she wasn't. I could say that women are better at policy making than men because Kamala Harris's policy was better than Trump's. Oh, okay, so see what we do when we isolate for one man and one woman? And then we use one man and one woman to speak for all men and all women? Okay, so like that's why I'm not going to answer your question, because it has nothing to do with an argument to indicate to us that men are better at leading than women.
But there's no substantial evidence showing either or.
Okay, so now you've just conceded the argument. Thank you so much. I asked you to come up because you support the idea that men are better at leading than women, and now you've told us that there's no substantial evidence to demonstrate that men are better at leading than women. So I have a question. Why do you believe in things without evidence?
I think you misunderstood my statement. I said there's no leading evidence to prove that women were better leaders than men because there haven't been that many women leaders.
I'm not arguing that women are better at leading than men. I'm arguing that we shouldn't be able to look at genders and stereotype them as a broad category for being better at leading than another gender. I think that your gender is just about as relevant to how good you are at being a leader as the color of your shirt or shoes. It's just as there's no inherent relation to your leadership abilities, right? So now you're just telling us that you don't think there's evidence to indicate that women are better at leading than men, nor do you think there's evidence to indicate that men are better at leading than women. You've now conceded the total point because when you came in here, you were attempting to argue that men were better at leading than women, and now you're telling us that there's no evidence for that, nor is there evidence for the opposite claim. So you've conceded. Thank you.
Again, I'm still arguing fact over feeling here.
Okay, no, you're not. If you were arguing fact over feeling, then you would acknowledge. If you were arguing fact over feeling, then you would acknowledge that you have no fact to demonstrate why men are better at leading than women per your own admission. Therefore, you wouldn't believe it. But that's not what you're doing. You're literally telling me that the facts demonstrate that there's no substantial evidence that yields the conclusion men are better at leading than women. Yet you still feel as if they are. You are not arguing fact over feeling.
Okay, so let's argue the facts of men being better leaders. The fact that there's still a U.S. today and still running and operating, and solely based on the factor that we've only had male presidents and male leaders. Maybe not in the sense that you're going to interpret that statement. I'm saying as president themselves, there's only been male presidents. I'm not saying that there's never been a woman in power. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying that we've only had male leaders who were president within this country.
We've finally yielded an argument because the U.S. has only had male presidents. Therefore, men are better at leading than women. Let me ask you a question. If we were to take a time machine back to 2007, would you say that white people are better at leading than black people because we've only ever had white presidents?
No.
Oh, okay. See how your logic fails?
No, just because I'm not looking based on race.
Oh, so you're saying that this can be true when applied to gender, but not true when as it could be applied to race. Why is that?
Because race doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Race doesn't.
So if race,
I don't see.
If race is irrelevant to leadership abilities, even though there's been more white leaders and black leaders, then how come gender is relevant to leadership abilities? Because there's been more male leaders than female leaders.
And so when you speak of the black community, you also speak of your Rosa Parks, your Martin Luther Kings, who actually
Rosa Parks is a woman.
Who actually stood up.
Rosa Parks is a woman. You just tried to use an example of a black woman. You just tried to use an example of a black woman that was a great leader to demonstrate that black people are also good at leading. Okay, well, she was also a woman. So does this demonstrate that women are also good at leading? There's no fucking way.
That is exactly the example I wanted you to bring up. That is exactly why I brought it up myself, because you didn't think of it first.
You didn't ask me to bring up
that
an
was
example
exactly
about Rosa
who I
Parks.
wanted
What?
you to bring up. That was exactly the people that I wanted you to bring up, because in that factor, it has been how long since those events happened, and since then, which of those political leaders have taken the same steps to fight the oppression that people claim today that they haven't?
Does anybody clearly understand what he just said?
You're taking an L on this, Dean. You're taking an L on that one.
You can't just throw gibberish at me, then stun me because I don't have a clue what you're saying. Then
I didn't. I gave you a past relevance and a present relevance.
What the fuck is going on? Okay, I want you to take those words and I want you to frame them in sentences that are coherent.
I just asked you a clear question of which.
Wait, you asked me a clear question? What?
I did. I asked you which recent women politicians have stood up the same way that those women back then did, and you couldn't give me an example.
Okay, first and foremost, this is never a question that you asked me. And second of all, how is this question relevant at all to the argument I brought up? Like, I'm so sorry. You understand that the argument that I gave you in response to your claim that men are better at leading than women because every president we've had has been a man was if we were to hop in a time machine and go back to 2007, would you say that white people are better at leading than black people because every president that we've ever had is white? And you said no, meaning that you don't think it's true that just because every president we've ever had is X, rather that be a man or white, that therefore makes men or white people better at leading than non-men or non-white people. Right? And that was the argument that I gave you to coherently debunk your BS. And then you started spewing gibberish about Rosa Parks and women today compared to the 1960s. Like, okay, let's stay on track here. The point of my counter argument to you is just to demonstrate if a field is dominated by a specific demographic doesn't mean that demographic is the best at performing in that field.
I don't think I fully understand your question.
I didn't ask a question. I made an argument that didn't end with a question mark, that ended with a period.
So my counter to you would be, would you still say that the mindset is the same from then to now?
My friend.
I'm basing
my
argument purely on mindset.
My friend, let's make sure that we're on the same page. Can you repeat my counter argument to your claim that men are better at leading than women because every president we've ever had has been a man?
I also conceded that yes, we have had women of power, but never
Not what I asked you to do. What did I just ask you to do?
You asked me to rephrase what you had paraphrased earlier in the conversation.
No, I asked you to repeat the counter argument that I gave to your point being that you believe men are better at leading than women because every president we've ever had has been a man.
Yes, and my whole argument is based purely on mindset.
I'm not asking you for your argument. I'm asking you to repeat my counter argument.
Based on the demographic, if I felt that the demographic, if one demographic was or the leading cause of something, then it would be is that the one you're talking about?
I'll repeat it for you, okay? My counter argument against your point that men are better at leading than women because we've only had men as presidents is that you would not say that white people are better at leading than black people in 2007, when before that we had only had white presidents. There you go. That's the counter argument. All right?
Yes, and my counter argument to that was why I went back to Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, because yes, they didn't hold any political power, but they were able to fight for what they felt oppressed on. But you don't see that today. I'm comparing it to today's relevance.
You don't see women fighting for women's rights?
I see women fighting for but they're not going to the same extremes or
like Rosa Parks.
Yes.
So when Rosa Parks was alive, were men better at leading than women?
No. They were.
Then your point is self-fucking refuting. You just told me that even though we had never had a black president, there were still black people that were demonstrating gallant leadership abilities, and you even gave the example of Rosa Parks. You literally used a black woman to argue your point to conclude that black people are just as good as leaders as white people. This would also therefore conclude that women are also just as good as leaders as men, because Rosa Parks was black, but she was also a woman.
Look, I built you up to tear you down right now. I built you up to tear you
down. Bam!
I built it up to tear it down. It is a house of cards. I built it up to tear it down.
Dude.
And that is why I brought those examples to the table, because you didn't bring up those examples. You didn't say Rosa Parks when I asked for an example of a political or non-political person who.
All right, chat. We're going to stick to asking these people why they support Trump. Listen, I would love to talk to misogynists about why they think that men are better at leading than women. But y'all, they're so DUMB, they can't even put it into words. They're so DUMB that they can't even like remember what I said 5 seconds ago. They're so DUMB that they don't even possess what is required to have a back and forth dialogue about their misogyny. So unfortunately, we won't be able to have those conversations for that reason. So now we're going to go back and asking people why they support Trump. Wow, that was incredible. I can't even believe that. Hop in that queue. If you support Trump, we'll pull you up here and we'll have a debate. Let's go to move on to the next Trump supporter right now. We got Cavs loading up in here right now, everybody. Hayes, thank you for the $3 over on Venmo. Appreciate you for the love. Then Hope with the $1 as well. Thank you so much. Perry, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. I appreciate you for that love. Thank you so much for the love, Perry. Show some love to Perry down below. Alina with a $5 saying, love what you do. Appreciate you for the love. X-Chan with a $15 saying, I just wanted to thank you for being one of the very few people to really help me with being politically informed and educating me on current topics, especially within this hectic climate. Well, thank you for being here, X-Chan, and I'm happy that I could help. Charlotte with a $7 saying, hey, Dean, I really enjoy your lives. Hope you're doing well. I am. I hope that you're doing well as well. Thank you so much. Welcome in. What is going on, Cavs? Do you support Trump?
No, I don't. Before you kick me out.
And I'm so sorry. You got to get banned. Let's go to move on to the next guest right now, everyone. Let's go and load that next guest up in here. Go to drop a Maga with your age down below in that chat if you do want to tune in. As well as Kylie. Thank you so much for the $50 donation over on PayPal. Kylie, thank you so much. You were awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Show some love to Kylie down below in that chat. Kylie says, hey, Dean, it's Kylie Karma, a trans woman from Canada, sending love. Find a Maga to debate trans rights and let them know Trump supporters have came to Canada multiple times to pay to meet me. They are our biggest fans. Unfortunately, Kylie, TikTok literally bans us if we start talking about trans rights. It is like, it is terrible. Like they don't let you have those conversations, and I wish that it was different, but unfortunately, it's just the way that it is. And F TikTok for that. But I appreciate you for being here, Kylie, and thank you so much for the love. Welcome in, Jokester. Do you support Trump?
I do, but I kind of wanted to argue about the whole men being better leaders than women.
Okay, is that also something that you believe?
Of course.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'll entertain it again. You just have to be smarter than that last guest. That's my only requirement.
No, he sounded drunk. I'll be honest with you. He sounded drunk. I was like, all right, bro, get this guy out of here.
Crystal, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. Appreciate you for that love. Let's get 100 W Crystals down below, as well as Martin with the 10 and Isabella with the 10. Thank you, Martin, Crystal, and Isabella. Show some love to Martin, Crystal, and Isabella down below, as well as, oh my God, Kenna. Dude, Kenna with a $200 donation over on PayPal. Show some love to Kenna down below in that comment section, everybody, please. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you so much for the love, Kenna. That is Keanna. Kenna says, thank you for standing up for my daughter, myself, and the rest of the women in America. I appreciate you so much. Kenna, I do not deserve a single penny of that. That is so much money. Thank you so much for the $200 donation. If we could all please seriously show some love to Kenna down below in that chat while we're hopping into this next debate, it would mean the absolute world to me. Thank you so much a billion times over, Kenna. And Jokester, take it away. Why the hell do you think that men are better at leading than women?
Sure. So to phrase my argument, right, men are better leaders than women. I mean, first you got to identify what a leader really is, right? I think the most important attribute is decision making, right? I think that men are better decision makers. I think they're more, they're better when it comes to making decisions under duress, things of that nature.
Okay. So you think that men are better at making stressful decisions. Why is that?
I mean, just if you look at history, right, as a whole, right? I mean, people that have gone to war, people like Alexander the Great, right, that have led revolutions.
So
These are all like very
being able to
stressful.
being able to give examples of men in history that have been able to make stressful decisions does not prove your point that men are going to be better at making stressful decisions than women.
Well, I
My
mean, I
first
look at
reason,
history as a whole,
listen,
right?
listen.
And
My first
history
reason
tends to
why,
repeat itself.
my first reason why is like
Sure.
one, I would be able to point out like women in history that have been able to make good decisions
Sure.
while stressed, like Joan of Arc. And point number two, if you want to argue that there's just simply more men in history that have been in positions of leadership and have made stressful decisions than women in history that have been put into positions of leadership and made stressful decisions, well, I would say that's because the men didn't allow women the chance to lead, regardless how good they would be at it.
And I'm glad you made that point. So just the fact that men have not allowed women to lead, I mean, you also got to understand that if that is the case, if men did not allow women to lead, that's not necessarily. I mean, you gotta look at it as a whole, right? Men have always been in power. If they have always been in power, then clearly they're doing something right. Now, does that mean that women can't lead? No. I'm glad you brought the point.
No, You're making an assumption that the reason that there's been more men in power than women historically is because of some relevant attributes to being a good leader, and I completely reject that. Like, for instance, the reason why I think that there's been more men in power than women historically was because of a leverage of resources and exertion of power. And back when we were all like cavemen and women, I think that the power that the men cavemen were able to leverage over the women cavemen in order to hold on to those positions of leadership would have been physical strength, right? And I don't think that physical strength is going to make you better or worse at leading. I don't think it's relevant at all.
I absolutely agree. It does,
And then since men were able to hold on to that dynamic of possessing the societal power when there was no levers of power, just ourselves, right, through an exertion of physical strength, and they put themselves in those positions of leadership. As society continued to progress, and as the very first civilizations popped up, men were already predisposed to holding on to those positions because of access to higher levels of physical strength in the past, and because they were predisposed to holding on to those positions, they were able to socially stigmatize women in those positions, and then which continued to perpetuate the cycle. And then once men were able to gain more power than just physical strength, such as an access to more resources, more wealth, as well as they were able to set the social stigmas because of the generations before them of women that haven't been able to lead. They were able then to continue to perpetuate those aspects in society, and I think that is what has led to the patriarchy in history and today. But because we all see that is just a consequence of men holding women down with access to more resources created by an original access to more physical strength on average, and I don't think that more physical strength on average is going to be relevant to determining how good of a leader you are. This isn't going to be relevant in determining that men are better at leading than women.
So, I mean, you threw up a lot of information there, sure. But I mean, again, my point is this: physical strength is an attribute of leadership. It absolutely is.
Really?
If I am stronger than you, and if we are disagreeing on something, right? If me and you, let's just say me and you, Dean, we're sitting in a room. You're saying 1 + 1 = 3. I'm saying equals 2, right? Or I say it equals 3, and you say equals 2, and I could kill you, and I could beat the shit out of you. It does not matter, right? I am more powerful than you are. I am now by nature a better leader than you.
Okay.
So
are you
physical
ready?
strength absolutely does matter. I
Okay.
don't agree how you couldn't agree that it matters.
Okay, check this out. Let me know when you're ready.
Sure. I'm ready.
Name one system of leadership anywhere in the world that is purely determined on the basis of physical strength.
It's not necessarily. I mean, of course, the point that you had made back, in the caveman era, where physical strength was used to enforce leadership. I don't think it's necessarily a trait that is predominantly used now. I mean, if you look at Afghanistan, which is my home country, that absolutely the Taliban that are controlling the that's the natural government there. They use physical strength. So there you go. I mean, you can type it up and search it up, but I have family that live there.
Okay, so the leader of the Taliban right
There's not
now,
a single leader, by the way.
before he
There's not a single
died,
leader.
so he was the first leader of the Taliban from 1994 until his death in 2003. Keep in mind that
There's
he was
been hundreds
born
of others.
Keep in mind that he was born in 1950. So that means upon his death in 2013, he was 63 years old. I'm sure that he had Taliban foot soldiers working under his leadership that were much younger than 63 years old and were probably closer to their prime of like 18, 20, 25, etc. Thereby, we can obviously assume that there's many foot soldiers working under him that were significantly physically stronger than he is. So even in you attempting to give me an example of a system of leadership that is determined on the basis of physical strength, you've just simply exposed another system of leadership that is not determined on the basis of physical strength get pushed.
Not necessarily. No, I mean, no, that wasn't my argument. Wasn't that it was only it was only using physical strength. I was just bringing up a point that like yes, the Taliban is led by strength. Now, is it necessarily physical strength, like arm wrestling, like physical strength?
The
No.
structure of leadership inside of the Taliban is not determined by physical strength.
I mean,
And I asked you the question: can you name one structure of leadership anywhere in the world that is? How about this? Let me ask you a question.
And I had told you, it's not necessarily. I mean, yes, we're not.
Right,
cavemen.
who's better at leading? Who's better at leading? The football coach or the football players?
I mean, the correct answer would be the football coach.
Oh, and who's
But I would argue that some
stronger?
football players are better than the coach.
But you just said that the correct answer would be the football coach, so therefore your answer of the football
Correct.
of the football players was wrong, because you affirmed that the correct answer was the opposite of the answer you gave. I don't know why would you just tell us you believe in something that you know
What is the
is wrong?
point? What is the point that you're trying to make, Dina?
Oh, for sure. I'll make the point
I
right
don't
now because we just agreed that the
Sure.
football coach is a better leader than the football players. I have a question.
Mhm.
Who's physically
Sure.
stronger on average, the football players or the football coach?
On average, would be the players, of course.
Thank you.
Sure.
So do we see how we just debunked your argument?
My argument wasn't necessarily that physical strength is the only determining factor. I think
Oh, okay.
you
Well, now
kinda
we've
led
determined that
way.
it's not one at all. So what are the others?
No, it is one. It absolutely is. I mean, it is a form of leadership now. Is it
No.
used
Give
consistently nowadays? No, not at all.
give me one clear example where, like, we could all, for the most part, agree that somebody's a better leader based upon physical strength.
So again, my argument was never that physical strength is a key. Is the only point, right? Is a determining
I know.
point.
Just assume all the other determining points to be held equal, and give me an example where we make the clear decision that, with all other facts held equal, we're
We
going to
can't
pick the
hold
person
the
that's
other terms
physically
being
stronger.
equal, though. That the question is flawed in
Well,
itself.
you
That-
can't
that-
engage
that's
in
not
hypothetical
possible.
critical thought. No wonder you think that men are better at leading than women, because you can't abstractly think. You doofus. You donut. Yeah. Okay, so what are the other relevant
It doesn't make
factors in
sense.
determining why
I
men
mean,
are better
we
at
can
leading
name
than
call if
women?
we
Let's
want.
hear it.
We can name calls back and forth all day long. It doesn't make sense.
Hell yeah,
But
we
anyway,
will.
what I was saying earlier is the ability to negotiate. The ability to make decisions under duress.
So
I mean,
we've
overall,
already
if
went
you
through
look,
ability to make decisions under duress. You didn't have
Sure.
a sufficient argument in order to demonstrate that that's true. And once again, I'll just give you an argument from biology. Women literally deal with stress better than men. Did you know that? Yeah, evolution gave women that advantage because of childbirth, and we see this to be true in society all the time. 85% of
Yes, I
surgeons
know
are
you mean.
male, 15% of surgeons are female, yet if you're operated on by a female compared to a male, you're going to be less likely to die as a result of your surgery or to experience negative postoperative outcomes. Why? Because women are better at dealing with stress during surgery. Why do men commit 92% of violent crimes? Because when emotional, when stressed, they're more likely to lash out and act irrationally compared to women. Why do men, why are men worse and why do men gamble more? Because they're more likely to engage in emotionally irrational decision making than women. Why do women outperform men at school? Because they're more likely to engage in fields and perform better inside of them that would highlight intelligence, emotional regulation, and rational proclivities. So once again, this point that you've continued to repeat that men are somehow better engaging in decision making under stress has been debunked not only by me exposing the lack of reason in your arguments, but it's also been debunked by very clear reason.
Sure. I mean, like, again, you threw up a bunch of information with no, clear point. What I was
Yeah,
trying to tell you was,
the clear point is that you have no reason to believe that men are better at making decisions under stress than women, and if anything, we have more reason and evidence to believe that women are better
I
at
look
making
at
decisions
history.
under stress than men.
History. Sure. I mean, I look at history, and I look at the vast history that we have of the world, and
Yeah.
time and time again, there's been a reason why women haven't been in position of power. And you mentioned one of the reasons,
Okay,
right?
wait, I have a question. What is
being-
that? Because we already went over this argument. I think it's funny how now
Sure.
you needed me to repeat this for a second time because you didn't keep up the first time. But we've already went over this argument. I gave you a very clear explanation insofar as why it is the case that we've seen more male leaders throughout history than female leaders. And just because you can name one male leader that's been able to make good decisions under stress doesn't therefore mean that men as a whole are better at leading than women. And you just completely ignored it. And now you're saying, well, there's a reason that there's been more male leaders throughout history than female leaders that have made men better at leading than women on average. Okay, so what is that reason that makes it clear men are better at leading than women?
And so I mean, it's a bit more complex than just providing one single reason, right? Again, I was trying to prove my argument there.
Then provide
I mean,
a
if you look
handful.
at, like I said earlier,
Let's hear it. I would
I
love.
was trying to. I was trying to, but you keep cutting me off. And then we got into the whole history debate, and you're like, no. And then we went to the whole caveman debate. But
Because you pivoted. Let's
overall,
hear one reason. Also, real quick for everybody in the chat, spam an A3 post. I just checked it out. Yeah, totally expected from him. His 8-3 post reads, me when I haven't been able to manipulate, cheat, and lead multiple women on, then it's like a video of some dude crying. Obviously, he's a fucking gross misogynist. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, this is the type of people that we're talking to. And I'm actually happy that I have the opportunity to actually humble a little POS like this. That's why he's here, so he could be intellectually humbled in front of like 15,000 people.
why am I a POS?
Oh yeah, because if you existed as you are today, but you were born inside of the body of a woman, and you were systemically limited by men such as yourself telling you that you're worse at leading for no goddamn reason, meaning that you historically weren't able to open a bank account, own a business, own property, and until the 1920s when you and your ancestors had to fight for the right to vote, you could even advocate for change inside of our society. When you couldn't report rape inside of marriage until the 1990s or get a credit card until the 1970s because of this baseless misogynistic rhetoric with no good reason to find it to be the case outside of men's own lack of an ability to recognize that they're not the most important people alive, rooted within a lack of self-respect, self-dignity, and perceived self-value. So instead of working on it in a mature, rational manner, you just project your own insecurities onto the women around you. And at the end of the day, you say, well, if I just gaslight myself into believing that they're less valuable than I am, at least I'll be more valuable, relatively speaking, at the end of the day. Like, I bet you could assume if you were born in the body of a woman, you definitely look at the men like you, like huge POSs, right?
Sure. So, Dean, I never said that women were necessarily bad leaders, though, is what I was trying to say. I mean, you kind of inferred that, right?
No,
I mean, it's not necessarily that women
are better at leading than women.
Are better. Correct. I still
and
agree.
What are the
men
reasons?
better than women? And yes, and we had a big, a very big argument until you called me a POS. But I just wanted to make that very clear before we, dive in deeper.
So what are the reasons why men are better at leading than women?
Sure, but you just kind of went on a whole tantrum. I kind of want to answer that. I want to rebuttal to that.
I
never necessarily
didn't go on a tantrum. I gave you an explanation insofar as why you're a POS.
No, I know you got on about women not being able to open bank accounts, own property, and then you just went on. You just kept going on. But and then you this is a common theme with you, right? This is your own live. Obviously, you're allowed to do whatever you want. If we were sitting face to face, the conversation would be much different. I'm just letting you know right now, it wouldn't be like this. But no,
yeah,
absolutely.
The conversation would be much different because I would absolutely intellectually whip your ass, and then you try to flex your bicep on me, then get the cops called on you. The conversation probably would be much different. You don't have the brain power to sit down across the table with me and maintain a sense of maturity because you can't deal with the pressure. So then you try to get big and bad, and then guess what? You'd be pulled away in handcuffs. It'd be great. No, it'd be awesome. I'd get it on film. I'd post it on the TikTok. I'd say, look at this tough guy getting dragged away in handcuffs because he tried some shit, and I'd be laughing at you. You're right. The conversation would be much different. Now go ahead. Why are men better at leading than women?
Another reason why is also you keep muting my mic, which I understand that that's what you do now. Now I realize why you're able to talk over people. You mute them and then you just talk over them. But going back to our
look at the
argument,
big strong man whining like a baby.
No, I'm just saying you mute mics and then you keep going on. But I'll let that slide. It's all good. It's all good, Dean. Another reason why men are better leading than women are is due to something that I think is very important in a leader, which is negotiation power. Such as Donald Trump. I don't even think Donald Trump is a great president. I just think he's better than Kamala Harris, right? But the art of negotiation.
Okay, and why do you think that men are better at negotiating than women?
I mean, if you look at, again, going back to history, right, time and time again, right, there's been several, and then I guess if you want to quote recent times, right, I think Trump, I don't think Trump is a good example. He is a good example, but not really because he's done also a lot of bad negotiating. I don't believe in what, the negotiations that have been done between Israel and Palestine. I don't think that Trump has done a very good job at all. But there's also other situations, right?
So remember, I'm not asking you about Trump. I'm asking you why you think men are better at negotiating than women.
Well, I mean, there's several factors to that. So the reason why I believe men are better negotiating than women is also due to their ability to, work better under duress. And also, I mean, if you look, again, my main point was history.
Okay. So far,
my main point was history.
So far, you've told me that you think men are better at negotiating than women because they're better able, they're more better, quote unquote, they're better at working under duress. All right.
Correct.
I'm going to need you to slow it down. I'm going to need you to take a chill pill and I'm going to need you to listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because I've already explained to you how that's not true. Okay, and I'm going to explain it to you one last time. Are you ready?
Sure.
We have no reason to believe that men are better at making rational decisions under stress compared to women. In fact, I would argue that we have a cornucopia of reason rooted within biological reality and societal empirical facts to believe the opposite. I'll start with the reasons rooted within biological reality that might demonstrate women are actually better at making decisions under stress than men. Women are literally biologically designed to deal with and handle stress better than men. Evolution has given this advantage because of childbirth. Okay, and where do we see this within the biological reality of the female anatomy? Thicker dendrites in the context of their spine. There's research papers dating back to the 70s to prove me right. So there's the reason rooted in biological reality to believe that men are not better at making decisions under stress. Now, what are some empirical facts to demonstrate that I'm right and you're wrong? Well, let's look at violent crime. Okay, 92% of violent criminals are men. Why is this relevant to my refutation of your point that men are better at making rational decisions when stressed and emotional? It's because violent crime is an irrational response to emotions, stress, desire, need, etc. There you go. All right. And we're going to keep it simple, and I'm going to leave it there. There's a fuck ton of other facts I could give you, but we're going to leave my refutation there. It's going to be simple. I gave you reason why you're wrong, rooted within biological reality, and I gave you reason why you're wrong, rooted within societal facts.
Absolutely. Indeed, I'm glad you explained those terms very clearly. You know, it makes a lot of sense. And so my argument to that would be, so because biologically, or, you know, because women are designed to give birth, right? Biologically they're better at handling stress. That, I mean, you're pretty much correlating the fact that because they're able to give birth, right, that they're better at leaders. Is that your argument?
No, the argument, or more so the fact that I reiterated to you, is because females give birth, not males. Females have an evolutionary advantage of possessing thicker dendrites on their spine, which neuroscientists, scientists, and academics have concluded, with the use of the scientific method through peer-reviewed research, equip them to better deal with stress.
Sure, stress when it correlates to childbirth, right? I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, there's different types of stress, right? There's emotional stress, physical stress. I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole if you'd like, but I mean that's just one avenue of stress.
Okay, so no, it's not just to better deal with stress during childbirth. That's not how the limitations of evolution and biology work. Like for instance, it's really advantageous for us to have like thick skin on the bottom of our feet because that's what we use to walk. But the moment we kick our feet up on the couch, that thick skin doesn't go away. We kind of have it with us all of the time. The same way, although the reason women are better equipped to deal with stress than men is because of childbirth, right? Their dendrites in their spine just don't shrink unless they're giving childbirth. They are always thicker on average, which means they're always better equipped to deal with stress on average than men, right? This evolutionary advantage doesn't just pop up when they're giving childbirth, then go away when they're not giving childbirth.
Right, but I'm questioning why you would, because they're, the point you made makes sense completely, right? They are, biologically designed when given childbirth to handle stress better, right? How does that correlate to them being better leaders is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, well, I'm not even making an argument about that, but I guess
gotcha.
but I guess I will entertain it because you're the one that told me under a false premise that men are better at leading than women because they're better equipped to deal with and manage stress when decision making. So I guess if you wanted to make me to make an argument here, I will now say that women are better at leading than men because they're better equipped and able to better deal with stress when making decisions.
I see. But again, I just, what I'm trying to ask you is, can you correlate that to leadership?
Oh,
What
if
the
you don't
biological
see a correlate between one's ability to manage stress when decision making, why did you tell me men are better at leading than women? Because you falsely assumed they
because
had
of
a greater
history.
ability to manage stress and deal with it when decision
Due,
making. You
due
are
to
the
history,
one
correct?
that
Due to
suggested a
history.
relationship between one's ability to manage their stress and therefore their ability to lead.
Due to history, correct? But you stated a biological fact.
So now if
I was
you're
trying to
arguing that the word history proves a correlation between
no, not at
one's
all.
ability to deal with and manage stress when decision making and their leadership ability, well, in response to your question, can you prove that women's greater ability to deal with and manage stress makes them better at leading? I'll just say that same word. History, apparently.
No, the point that I was trying to make, Dean, was that I mean, time and time again, we've seen right the men were we don't. There's a reason why 90% of leaders that we talk about today are men, right? Because and again, your argument was well, back then it was physical strength. No, I think that there's the world has been in an upwards trend. We've continuously grown through evolution, like you had mentioned, right? We've continuously progressed in as the world has, right? And it's been under male leadership. So by us existing today with modern technology, modern civilization, that proves that men have they've always just been better at dealing with stress because they've been the only leaders predominantly. So that's when I mention history, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Not just the word history.
So now you have what we like to call a circular argument. Are you ready for me to describe why your argument is circular?
Absolutely, Dean. I'd love to hear it.
Your argument is that men are better at leading because you think they're better equipped to deal with and manage stress. And then your argument that they're better equipped to deal with and manage stress is because you think they're better at leading.
No. So I'd mentioned history, right? I was just mentioning history. That's not at all true.
So okay, I misunderstood your argument. Your argument is that men are better at leading than women because you think men are better at dealing with stress. And then your argument that men are better at dealing with stress is that there's been more leaders that are men throughout history than those that are women?
No, not necessarily that either.
No, not necessarily that either. So what is it? In a
No,
sentence
I mean,
or less,
no,
what is
'cause
your
we-
argument? Reduce it down.
Okay.
Reduce it down for
All
me.
right.
See, here's
All
my
right,
thing.
dude, I will.
Here's my
I
thing.
will, dude, I will.
Here's my thing. Y'all hate it when you have to clearly suggest a reduction of your position. Like the misogynists and Trump supporters, they hate it when they have to clearly state what they believe in and why. Because it's not clear. It's maybe a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and a little bit of this, but not that. And if you try to give me pushback on anything that I've said so far, it's not really that either. Just a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and no, none of this, maybe a little bit of that, but none of that if you decide to give me pushback on it. See, it's very unclear. So make it clear. Give us a sentence or two reduction of your position without talking in circles why men are better at leading than women. I don't think you'll be able to do it. Prove me wrong.
I got you. I got to prove you wrong right now, Dean. Okay. Men are better than women at leadership due to 5 different reasons. One of them that we've pretty much gone over a lot throughout this entire conversation is due to historical dominance in leadership, biological and physical traits, crisis leadership, performance outcomes, and anticipating your counters, which I will be doing so right now. But crisis leadership is one of them. That's kind of what we've...
Anticipating your counters? You just accidentally read off the last line on ChatGPT, you donut. You weren't supposed to read off that line. You weren't supposed to read off that line, my friend. No. You were only supposed to read off the lines of the reasons why. You weren't supposed to read off the second section that said anticipating your counters. Here's common objections.
No.
Wow, what a way to publicly embarrass yourself in front of over 15,000 people. I actually love that for you. That is great.
Let's do it.
You just made such a big mistake by accidentally reading off more than you were supposed to. Oh, that was lovely. Thank you.
But ChatGPT is a good resource, though. Wouldn't you agree? ChatGPT is a great resource.
No, I'm smarter than ChatGPT.
No, come on, Dean. Come on.
I mean, I've already proven it. What was the first reason you gave? Historical context? What is historical context? More leaders that are men compared to those that are women?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so if you think members from demographic 1 dominate members from demographic 2 within any specific field, that therefore members from demographic 1 are better at performing in that specific field than members of demographic 2, right?
Correct.
Okay. I could give you really good reason to believe that this is bad logic. Members of demographic 1 men dominate members of demographic 2 women in the field of surgery. 85% of surgeons are men, 15% of surgeons are women. Would you agree that if your logic were to be true, then we would expect men surgeons to outperform women surgeons?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
And if women surgeons outperform men surgeons, then your reasoning is fallacious, right?
I think that's an exception. An exception doesn't disprove a rule, in my opinion. I mean,
Well, if
there's-
you make
there's
every single data point that refutes your logic an exception and you ignore it, then you are being willfully ignorant and very obtuse. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I think women are better at leading than men because of an historical domination of women in leadership. And if you were to bring up any leader ever that has been a man, I will call them an exception and I will ignore them. And by the way, the suggestions that an exception doesn't make the rule is false. Exceptions do make the rule. Principles are all-encompassing in all applicable contexts. If there is an applicable context of your logical principle where your logical principle is wrong or not the case, then the principle as a whole is wrong.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I'd
Yes.
probably take
No,
time to think
no,
of one, but I could
necessarily.
definitely.
Necessarily.
What do you mean?
Necessarily. It is necessarily wrong if it can apply to a context and yield the conclusion that it is false. I'll give you an example. If I hold to the moral principle that killing humans is murder, if I can look at a single context where killing a human is not murder, then my principle, killing humans is murder, is false.
Sure, but I mean.
So do we see there how exceptions actually do make the rule?
Argument, sure, but a better argument would be, is murder wrong? You know, I guess it would be murder is wrong.
No, the morality of murder has nothing to do with the description that I just gave you. No, it doesn't, you idiot.
Murder is wrong, but well, you know, let's say
That bears no. In the context of our conversation, me just giving you an example about how like principles and moral rules are all encompassing is not relevant at all. What?
No. I mean, you had said an exception doesn't.
You're
disprove
so
a rule, and I
lost,
told you
kid.
that.
You're absolutely so lost. Even like with the moral principle that murder is wrong. If we could find a single context of murder that's not wrong, then you do not.
But
hold
murder
to the...
is wrong.
Well,
but murder intrinsically is wrong.
Right. So
murder is wrong.
Right. So
but
if your
there are instances where murder is morally not wrong.
Okay. So
but
then you don't hold to the moral principle that murder is intrinsically wrong.
No, because I do hold to that principle. Murder
What do you
is
think
intrinsically wrong.
think the word intrinsic means?
Do you want me to like Google the exact word? Like, what does intrinsic mean?
Actually,
I don't get it.
I do.
Okay, intrinsic definition: belonging, naturally, essential, access to the heart. Okay, so
Essential.
Yes.
Do you know what the word
There you go.
essential means?
Yeah. Do you want me to Google that too, or I mean,
I'll just tell you. It means necessarily true or always the case. So if you hold to the position that murder is essentially wrong, this means that it is necessarily the case that murder is wrong. So if you think it is necessarily the case that murder is wrong, every time there's a murder, it is therefore necessarily wrong. X implies Y. If you could name one scenario where you think X does not imply Y, where murder is not wrong, then you do not hold to the principle that murder is inherently wrong.
No, but I do. I think murder is wrong, but there are certain situations where it,
Do I need to literally spell it out to you? Do I need to like make a graph and put it on the screen?
Please.
I can't even believe that I got to do this. Like, you are so like unintelligent. I have to make this. Okay.
You are
Principle.
very intelligent.
I'm significantly more intelligent than you.
Yeah.
So you hold to the principle that murder is always wrong, right?
Intrinsically, sure.
Intrinsically means always, right?
Essentially.
Not essentially, yes or no?
Sure. Yes. Well, for the point of your argument, yes.
I don't even need to spell this out on a graph for you. If you hold to the principle that murder's always wrong, will this mean that you will always think murder's wrong?
Yeah.
Oh! So if there's a situation of murder that you don't think is wrong, then you don't think that murder's always wrong, right?
It's an exception.
You're not answering my question. If you can name one scenario where you don't think murder is wrong, then is it even possible for you to believe that murder's always wrong?
Say that again. Sorry, I blanked out. What'd you say?
If you believe that there's a scenario where murder is not wrong, is it possible for you to also think that murder is always wrong?
Yes.
What do you mean by always, if not all-encompassing?
There's an exception.
You're not telling me what you mean by always, then.
Yes, I think that murder is always wrong.
Okay, what do you mean by what do you mean
that's
by
why it's called.
what do you mean
There's
by the
an
word
exception.
always?
Always.
What does always
meaning
mean?
forever. Meaning forever.
In all circumstances,
Continuously.
right?
Continuously, forever, in all circumstances, always.
Okay. So you just agreed in all circumstances. Well, if there's an except or a circumstance where you don't think this, then it's not truly in all circumstances.
Sure.
Okay,
No,
so
I
you
mean,
just affirm that means that you don't think murder is always wrong, so you don't hold to the moral principles. Why am I explaining principles to a 32-year-old man like a goddamn fourth grader? Do y'all see the shit I deal with on a day-by-day basis? You are literally seeing me explain and define the word always to somebody twice my age. Okay? You know, I don't take myself to be good at this, right? The idea of being able to talk to toddlers and teach them. Growing up, I never wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. I just didn't think I could do it. All right? But you've proven I can. You have proven I can.
I'm glad.
So do you see now how you can't think that murder is always wrong if you don't actually think that murder is wrong in all circumstances?
I mean, no, look, Dean, I was just trying to prove that there's always exceptions.
No,
Don't
you
disprove.
defined all circumstances as the definition of always. So I just literally repeated the sentence. When I just said you can't think murder's always wrong if you don't think murder's wrong in all circumstances, and you said no, I essentially said you can't think murder's always wrong unless you think murder's always wrong, and you said no. Right? Like, this is like me saying, jokester, you can't be wearing blue shoes unless you're wearing blue shoes. And you just said, no, Dean, I can wear blue shoes without wearing blue shoes. You said, no, Dean, I can think murder's always wrong without thinking murder's always wrong. I'm not going to take it any further than this. You're going to sit here and you're going to say, I'm sorry for wasting your time, Dean. You are right and I'm wrong,
I would never.
or I'm going to kick you.
All right, Daddy Dean, you were right.
Dude, moving on. What the fuck, man? Go ahead and hop in that queue if you think that Trump is a good president. What is going on today? I'm cortisol maxing today, chat. Emily, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat, saying literally explaining sets/subsets is basic logic. Yeah, no, Trump supporters literally don't even understand basic logic. Thank you for the love, Emily. I really appreciate you so much. Everybody, please show some love to Emily down below in that chat for the $10.
Hi, I'm not a Trump supporter. Sorry.
No worries, Erica. Banned. Moving on to the next guest. If you're on that queue, make sure that means that you're at least 18 years old and that you support Donald J. Trump. As well as super duper quickly, Alexandria. Thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. Thank you, Alexandria. As well as Stephanie with a 5, Maria with a 3, and then Danielle, thank you so much for the $25 over on PayPal, saying that was incredible, just incredible. Thank you for arguing against misogynist POS guests, and please keep cooking jokester 2 cylinders. My guy is a pillar of ash. Love ya. Thank you for the love, Danielle. I appreciate you. Show some love to Danielle down below in that chat while we're looking for that next Trump supporter. Let's go ahead and move on to the next guest right now, everybody. Do just kind of give us a minute here. As well as...
You let me...
Amber, thank you so much for the $40 over on PayPal. Appreciate you for that love, Amber. Let's get 400 Amber W's down below in that chat right now. Amber says, not me listening to another man saying women can't lead while working at my job as a woman leader in a male-dominated field. Thank you for the support, Dean. Amber, bro, it is fucking like just common sense and human decency. Amber, I really appreciate you for the $40 donation. You were absolutely awesome. As well as Emma, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal. Appreciate you for that love, Emma. Laura, oh my goodness, Laura, thank you for the $100 over on PayPal. Laura, dude, I want to get 1,000 Laura W's down below for the $100. Laura says, please keep debating misogynists.
I know
Women
you're
need you.
sick of this. I know you're sick.
Be quiet. Women need you. They literally can't hear us when we speak. Pipe down. Dude, it is so sad that a man has to say basic fucking common sense in order for other men to understand. And I love debating misogynists. It is so satisfying to watch
Just
them
don't shut
crumble.
up. That's your problem. You don't shut up.
I'm thanking donors. Pipe down, pal. As well as Adam with the $10. Thank you so much for the love. As well as now, we got all the donors over on Venmo. John, thank you for the $25 donation over on Venmo, saying, my goodness, how do you deal with this shit? How do you deal with this shit? Oh, John, it's taken a long time to figure out. Thank you for the $25, John. Then Guari with the $5. Thank you so much. And then Jacob with the $34 and Shirley with the 20. Thank you, Jacob and Shirley. You guys are absolutely awesome. And then Romy with a $20 saying, misogynistic POS. I'm a business owner and successfully manage 2 businesses. Shut your pie hole. How are you better than me for being a man? Let's go, Romy. As well as Rita with the $30. Be quiet. Quite frankly, Rita says, thank you for all that you do. Dean is a single mom. I definitely feel like a leader, a very good leader as well. I bet you are. Thank you for the love, Rita. And then Taylor with the 5, Joy with the 20, and Jonesy with a 5. Show some big love to all of our donors down below in that chat, everybody. Show some big love to all of our donors down below in that chat, as well as Art with the $10. Thank you so much for the love, Art. Happy you're having a good time hanging out with us. All right, Mr. Platform, go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, you got wrecked on Steiny's podcast, by the way. There was no points that were made that were good when you were on Steiny's podcast, and the people you were debating were pathetic. And that's how I know that you only debate low-level IQ people, because you won't bring up me or people like my brother who actually understand the topic of abortion and things like that. You just want to debate low-level IQ people, and that girl smoked you. And she embarrassed you in front of the whole world, and that's why you fell off since, right, Dean?
Fell off since, he says, in front of 15,000 people.
How many of those 15,000 have you? How many did you promote your page?
What do you mean by promote?
How much do you pay out of the people that pay you a day to promote your page, your live, for 15,000 people to be in here? It's fake. No, it's fake views, and you're a fake. You and Parker are both. It's hilarious to me. You guys make this little bit of money and then go spend it to promote your views. But we can get to the topic at hand.
Are you driving?
No, I'm not. I'm in the passenger seat.
Have your driver say hi.
Right there.
Oh, line platform back at it again?
No, I told you I'm not driving. You don't want to debate me. You're going to drop me because you think I'm driving.
Have your driver say hi.
That's all I need to tell you for TikTok algorithm. I'm not driving.
Just have your driver say hi real quick.
I'm not driving, Dean.
Well, then why can't your driver say hi?
Because my driver does not want to be in the video or voice in the video.
Hey, platform, what do you do to a soccer ball?
Hey, Dean, you sound...
Well, you kick it. And I get the last word. Take that, kid. We're going to move on to the next guest. We got Audrey loading up in the box. Yeah, no, guys, if you want to support me so I can spend more money on paying for fake views, my Venmo, my PayPal are in the link tree in my bio, y'all. I get 100% of the proceeds. Brittany, thank you for the $5 over on Venmo from a fake supporter for the fake views. Thank you so much for the love. You are awesome. Yeah, if you want to help me for the fake views, that'd be awesome. Everybody, appreciate it. Help me pay for the fake views. We're going to go to do a GoFundMe for the fake views for the rest of the afternoon. Welcome in, Audrey. Do you support Trump?
I do.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay, you have a slight echo. If you have any Bluetooth devices connected to your phone, please turn them off and then swipe in and out of the app. If you're screen recording, make sure to turn that off too.
2 seconds, my bad.
Yeah, no worries. Take your 2 seconds. I'm going to put you on mute while you're figuring it out. Jada, thank you for the $2 on Venmo. For everybody else hanging out with us in here for the day, guys, make sure that we're double tapping on that phone screen, sharing it out with a handful of friends. Yo, Kristen, thank you for the $25 over on Venmo, saying is mayonnaise an instrument? I don't know what your question is in reference to, but thank you for the $25, Kristen. Show some love to Kristen down below. Rachel for the $5 for help to pay for the fake views. Let's go, Rachel. And then yo, sensitive Eladia, thank you for the $50 over on YouTube Super Chat for the fake views fund. Thank you so much for the love. Let's go, Eladia. I'm going to be able to buy so many fake views with that money. We're going to buy all the fake views with that money. Thank you, Eladia, for the $50. Let's get 500 Eladia W's down below in that chat. We're also going to go ahead and send Audrey an invite to unmute. Let's see if we can get Audrey on the mic. Hello, hello, hello. Do you support Trump?
I do. Is that better?
And much better. Very nice.
All right.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and ask you why you support Trump. After quickly, I thank Val for the $10 over on Venmo for the fake Monopoly money for the fake viewers. Thank you so much. And then Libby with the $10 saying, I literally never watch you in this, and I'm just a fake viewer. Thank you, Val and Libby. Go ahead and take it away. Why do you support Trump?
Well, I just want to start off with this is my first time seeing you in your content. I'm also new to TikTok, so this is kind of like all new for me. However, I do support Trump because honestly, there have been no better options. I could not find any legitimate reason to support Clinton, to support Kamala. I couldn't find any legitimate reason to support them. However, I do believe that Donald Trump being a successful businessman and his drive to create a better system is what I prefer to see in leaders.
So what has he done to quote unquote create a better system in the last 200 days?
His border control is extremely well. I mean, extremely well done. I come from a community of a lot of Hispanic. It's very high Hispanic. Over the past couple years, I've noticed that the quiet community of Hispanic families that are just absolutely beautiful families, I'm sure majority of them are illegal. However, I love them to death. Over the past couple years.
I'm sorry. You can't look at a group of Hispanic people and say, I'm sure majority of them are illegal because they're Hispanic.
I live in the community, and I have communicated with multiple families.
That's what gets people hate crimed. I just want to say, that's what gets people hate crimed. That attitude right there is what led to my grandma's best friend, who's also Hispanic, that immigrated from Mexico 30 years ago, to be told to go back to her country when just simply attempting to pick up her grandchild from their elementary school. You know, that's a bad attitude to hold. Go ahead.
Logically, I don't see how that is, but I will let that slide. I come from a high Hispanic community, and a lot of them are very lovely people. However, the past couple years, they have become, but the community has become a lot more crimes, a lot more trash, a lot more aggressive attitudes in a way. And that's literally all just through Joe Biden's presidency. I'm also close to Atlanta, so during BLM, there was a lot of violence. I wasn't allowed anywhere near Atlanta. So I think that keeping a secure border and keeping the migration strict, but also we need to fix the system because it's not allowing for good families to come in.
Okay, all right. So I think I'm going to use a question to rebuttal the foundation of your claim, because it sounds like the foundation of your claim is that undocumented immigrants are going to be more likely to commit like violent crimes, etc. So the more
I did not say that.
The reason I believe that's the foundation of your claim is because you're basically telling us the more undocumented immigrants that we have in any particular area, the more violent and criminal said areas become, right?
No.
Okay, so then you're going to have to repeat the claim.
I believe that illegal immigrants are not violent by nature just because they're illegal. I believe that allowing a weak border has allowed violent criminals in. So it's not the illegal immigrants, it's by having a weak border that has allowed criminals in. I don't claim illegal immigrants to be criminals, violent criminals by nature. I claim that having a weak border has allowed violent criminals in.
Okay, so thank you for the new updated claim, but I just want to point it out. If this was your argument from the beginning, then you would not have mentioned undocumented immigrants once. You would have mentioned the violent criminals who have came into this country through the open borders to commit crimes. And the whole time your argument was surrounded on just the run-of-the-mill undocumented immigrant. Now, let's go ahead and test the second claim, saying that open borders have allowed a bunch of individuals that are now committing violent crimes into this country, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you think that we should keep violent criminals out of the country?
Correct.
So then why did you let a violent criminal run the country?
Because he's not a violent criminal.
He was held liable for SA and convicted of 34 violent crimes. Crimes.
And he was only accused of those when it became a trend and it became like profitable for them.
Oh, so you think our criminal justice system is unreliable?
Correct.
So then how do you know it would reliably dictate that undocumented immigrants are violent criminals?
Repeat that question.
Then how do you know it would reliably dictate that some undocumented immigrants are violent criminals?
Because of the criminal record, because people are being sexually assaulted here.
Well, the criminal record proves you're a violent criminal. Proves you're a criminal. Donald Trump has a criminal record for 34 felonies. Does that prove he's a criminal? Donald Trump has a record.
It doesn't anymore because he doesn't have them.
Yes, he does. He has a criminal record of 34 felony convictions.
Wasn't he? Hold on.
No, he was not let off. He was not exonerated. He did not win on appeal. He was found guilty of 34 felonies. While you're looking that up really quickly, I'd like to thank just 3 people. So take a minute to look that up.
Okay.
Thank you so much, super duper quickly to, let's see here. Everyone just give me a moment. Amelia, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal saying, hey, Dean, here's half my paycheck. Reference to yesterday's Live It Went Wild. I remember that, Amelia. Anne, thank you for the $50 over on PayPal. Thank you, Anne. That is Ann. Show some love to Ann down below in that chat. That is so much money. Thank you, Ann. Ann says, thank you for all that you do. This is a contribution to the new chair. Fuck, I actually got to go out and get one today. So thank you. I appreciate that, Ann. I need to remember to do that. Olivia, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you so much. Olivia says, I love supporting the fake views. Let's go, Olivia. Thank you so much. Then Kiana, once again, with another $50 over on PayPal. Thank you, Kiana. That is Keanna, saying, as always, I appreciate your intelligence and the way you stand up for minorities and women. I appreciate you so much for the love, Kiana. You are so cool. Thank you so much. Everybody, please show some love to Kiana down below, y'all. Please show some love to Kiana down below. Thank you, all 3 of y'all, for your donations. Go ahead.
Okay, so he's still a convicted felon, and his appeal has not gone through yet. So I'm not going to really comment on that. But
how about this?
I will say. Can I ask
you about something else?
Of course.
Yeah, so, I mean, it just generally seems that you want to be tough on violent crime. Would you ever support a president that willfully and intentionally let violent criminals roam free on the streets?
I would need context behind that.
Sure, I could give you context. Like, imagine that we had like a dystopian nightmare president that just literally started pardoning random violent criminals that pled guilty to like heinous crimes, like trying to like beat up and kill cops. And he just like day one, pardon them all, let them roam free on the streets of America, and even took it one step further and called them patriots. Like, would you ever support a president that would do that? Just willfully and
Are you talking about
intentionally?
January 6th?
No. Would you ever support a hypothetical president that like willfully and intentionally let violent criminals that try to beat up and kill cops out of jail to roam free on our streets?
By the context you've given me, no.
So Donald Trump willfully and intentionally let violent criminals that tried to beat up and kill cops, such as DJ Rodriguez, who drove a stun gun into the neck of a cop on January 6th and gave him a heart attack, out of jail 8 years early, called him a patriot to roam free on our streets. So you just told us you want to support Trump because you're tough on crime.
Out of all the research I've done, I have not seen anything about that. And to be honest, I don't necessarily believe that to be the full story.
Okay, well, go ahead. You have Google pulled up, so feel free to fact check anything I'm about to say. DJ Rodriguez was at the Capitol on January 6, 2021. When DJ Rodriguez was at the Capitol on January 6, 2021, he took a taser, a stun gun, and drove it into the neck of a police officer at the Capitol by the name of Officer Fanone. That is Fanone spelled F-A-N-O-N-E. After driving this stun gun into the neck of Officer Fanone suffered a heart attack and still has PTSD from the incident. Then, DJ Rodriguez was later arrested. He was brought into questioning by the FBI. When questioned by the FBI, he pled guilty. He admitted he did it. He then went to criminal court proceedings for his attack on Officer Fanone, and he pled guilty once again, as well as the supplementary evidence of Officer Fanone's body camera footage, which depicted DJ Rodriguez doing this to the officer, was shown in court, which then, of course, led to DJ DJ's guilty plea and then led to a 12-year sentence in jail. Now, the day Donald Trump was inaugurated for his second term, January 20th of this year, Donald Trump issued a blanket pardon for 1,600 people that were convicted of crimes surrounding January 6th, and these pardons included DJ Rodriguez, letting him out of jail 8 years early.
Then no, that's unacceptable. I don't believe that he should be defended by the fact that he is Trump. I believe that his actions are, there's justice. You need justice in every situation, and actions are actions, and I believe that they should receive consequences for their actions. If they are proven guilty, they deserve time.
Okay, great. Well, I'm happy that you could admit that it was a bad decision of Trump, but I just wanted to be clear that earlier in this conversation, you actually explicitly said that this wouldn't just be something that you'd acknowledge as wrong, but this would be a red line that you'd hold against the president.
I do hold it against him. If that's true, I would hold it against him as his judgment for pardoning criminals, but I do appreciate the fact that he does keep our border secure.
Okay. Well, earlier you said you never support a president that has done these things. Now you're telling me that you acknowledge that it's wrong, but you still support him for reasons X, Y, and Z. That is a shift of the goalpost. Now, about border security, what has he done to make the southern border more secure to slow border crossings?
The daily crossings have drastically decreased, so I wouldn't necessarily... Well, hold on, let me look up the numbers.
They've fallen by like 95%, right?
Yeah, which is incredible, which I think...
Well,
I
not
believe
always.
in a system that...
Not always. The question is, what did Donald Trump do to cause that? Because I think he did something very bad to cause that I don't support, meaning that we shouldn't support that outcome either.
Well, if you have a really hard... I'm going to use a workplace example. So if you have a really lazy team, you really have to kick them into work, right? So if you have to take drastic changes to increase the productivity, I would believe that to be necessary. I don't believe...
I like this example. I'm going to use it against you after you finish. Go ahead.
I believe that harsh actions are necessary to increase productivity, to increase the outcomes of situations. I knew that when Trump went into office that he would not be the most popular and that he would get a lot of backlash, because when you're trying to change a system, it's not easy. You will receive backlash. So I don't blame the man for everything that he does wrong. Okay. I support him for the things that he does right, but I will hold him accountable for the things that he does wrong. Okay. I don't support people for the fact that they are who they are. I support them for the things that they do.
Okay, I really like the first example that you gave me, saying, well, if you're at work and there's like a team of people that are supposed to achieve a goal and they're all lazy and they're not being productive, they're not achieving their set goals, that you'd be okay with doing what's necessary in order to get them to be more productive. The reason I really like this example is because this perfectly frames why I don't think we should support what Donald Trump has done to get undocumented border crossings to drop by 95%. Imagine the boss of that lazy team that's unproductive literally took two members of the team, strung them up, beat and tortured them, and forced them to kneel from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. And if they fell out of exhaustion, they would have been beat, and they were beat, and they lost 30 pounds in 3 weeks. And he did this as a scare tactic to get every other member of the team to be productive. Would you support the increase in productivity caused by the boss torturing two members of the team then?
But would that really be an increase of productivity if the people that are...
Oh, yeah.
Creating...
No. Everybody else on the team was so scared when they saw two of their team members beaten and tortured for a month that they got into shape and they got productive, and their productivity increased by 95%. Would you support the action of the boss by beating and torturing two members of the team to get it done?
I would not support it by violence. I would support it by having a strict and almost...
Right. And then even if, like we would say here, even if, like, would you therefore say, even if it meant that team would have been a little more unproductive if the boss had never beaten and tortured two members of the team, that still yet you would prefer you would prefer the instance of them being a little more unproductive without beating and torturing some members of the team than the view them being more productive with beating and torturing some members of the team, right?
So do you believe that violence is the only way to being productive?
No, I think that there's about 1 billion other ways that we could increase the productivity of the team that wouldn't necessitate the use of violence against two of the members, making the use of violence against two of the members to achieve said outcome all the more worse, right?
Right. So what I'm saying
Can I
is
give you
in
the
workplaces.
relationship? Can I give you the relationship to Trump now?
Sure, absolutely.
Because the way that I believe Donald Trump has been able to reduce undocumented border crossings by upwards of 95% is by literally beating, torturing, and violating the human and constitutional rights of undocumented immigrants that are already in this country. Think about all of the immigrants that attempted to come into this country the use of undocumented means and what they saw on the TV screen when they learned that the Trump administration illegally deported an undocumented immigrant by the name of Abrigo Garcia to Secot in El Salvador, where he was beaten and tortured and starved for 3 weeks after SCOTUS ruled that his removal was illegal and the Trump administration had to bring him back, and the Trump administration refused. Think about what the immigrants thought when Mahmoud Khalil, who was a legal green card holder, was kept inside of an ICE detention center for 3 months with no due process, rhyme, or reason. Think about what they thought when the Venezuelan immigrants that were deported back to Venezuela without any due process, and then the judge ruled that they had to turn those planes around because they didn't have their due process, and the Trump administration ignored them, thought when, the undocumented immigrants in the country had their constitutional rights violated. These are all things that have actually been happening, and I'm just scratching the surface. I haven't even started to talk about Alligator Alcatraz or the enactment of the Alien Enemies Act or Donald Trump's calling of undocumented immigrants, that they're poisoning the blood of this country, or that they're all just violent criminals that has led to an increase in hate crimes. Now, maybe this is why we've seen a massive reduction in undocumented immigrants into this country, and this is why we shouldn't support it, because it's literally because of fascism. Right? Incredibly immoral means to achieve said end. And then the second point here is that it's short term. The moment that we have a president that is not a fascist, we will no longer have this restructuring of the incentive of the incentives for undocumented immigrants either to come into the country or not to come into the country.
So what you're saying is that you're upset about the results of a overworked workplace, basically, because what we're seeing with Alcatraz is the overpopulation of our illegal immigrants, and they're trying to get them back to their home country. So basically, everything wrong that has happened is because of the overwhelming amount of people. So I wouldn't logically say that it is wrong for all these things to be happening, because it is only natural.
Wait. You wouldn't say that it's wrong for the Trump administration to illegally deport Abrigo Garcia to Secot, where he's beaten and tortured for 3 weeks, and then refuse to bring him back even after SCOTUS ruled he had to?
Was he a legal immigrant?
Yes.
Was he an immigrant?
He was an undocumented immigrant.
Okay. So how is that wrong to send him back to his country?
Okay. Yeah, see, I feel like this is a big difference between you and me. You literally lack empathy. You are asking me how it is wrong that a man was beaten, tortured, and starved for 3 weeks. You are asking me why it is wrong for our current presidential administration to violate our Constitution and illegally deport an immigrant to be beaten, tortured, and starved for 3 weeks. If it is so wrong for an undocumented immigrant to commit a misdemeanor to come into this country, to work, provide for them and their family, while also contributing
It's not a
to
misdemeanor.
GDP,
It is a felony to be coming into this country illegally. That is on the federal. That's federal. That is not a base level crime. That is a big crime.
There's federal misdemeanors.
Okay. That is a federal crime.
It is a federal crime.
It is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
explain to me why the resources.
1 second. There's two categorizations of federal crime: federal crimes that are misdemeanors and federal crimes that are felonies. Let me know when I can continue. You interrupted me there, but I want to be able to address the point because you're wrong here too. And this point is simple to address why you're incorrect.
I'm sorry?
Like, you're wrong here? I just want you to be able to address it real quick. You're saying it's a federal crime, not a misdemeanor? Yeah, some federal crimes are misdemeanors. They have 2 classifications, misdemeanors and felonies.
Okay. But it's still a federal crime. So explain to me why illegal immigrants get more resources than our own citizens. I believe that is not fair and that we need to be prioritizing our own citizens. If a criminal commits a crime and gets deported,
They don't.
They do. The ones that do, they are getting deported, and some that...
Let's play a quick game.
Okay.
Do citizens qualify for federal Section 8?
I'm actually not sure.
If citizens couldn't qualify for federal Section 8, then why the hell would it exist? The answer is yes. Okay? Can undocumented immigrants qualify for federal Section 8?
Probably not because they don't have documents.
Can citizens qualify for federal Social Security?
Not all.
Well, those that are can some citizens qualify for federal Social Security?
Correct.
Okay. Can any undocumented immigrants qualify for federal Social Security?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can some citizens qualify for federal Medicaid and Medicare?
Medicare, no.
Yeah, some citizens can qualify for Medicare. Old citizens.
Not all.
I didn't say all, I said some. So some citizens can qualify for federal Medicaid and Medicare. Can even a single undocumented immigrant qualify for federal Medicaid or Medicare?
No, but those are some of the resources that they can't access because they literally don't have documents.
Right.
What I'm talking about are the
right,
states
right.
that are catering to their illegal immigrants, housing them in hotels, taking away from other people. You're talking about billions of dollars into their food, their clothing.
So some states offer limited solutions for social safety nets for undocumented immigrants. However, you understand that A, every state that offers some solutions for social safety nets for low-income undocumented immigrants also offer the identical solutions with more funding to citizens, on top of the fact that all citizens are eligible to potentially qualify for all federal benefits. Meanwhile, undocumented immigrants cannot qualify for a single one in any circumstance ever. So this means earlier when you made the claim that undocumented immigrants receive more than citizens is abundantly false. They receive some state benefits from some states, not all states, and no federal benefits. Meanwhile, citizens can receive all federal benefits and all state benefits in all 50 states.
But you're talking about a portion of the citizens, which are not a very... There's barely anybody that actually qualify for these assistance.
the same
However,
standards-
majority
the
of the
same
illegal
standards-
immigrants
the
that
same
have
standards-
access to those...
The same standards apply for undocumented immigrants. Like, for instance, to qualify for Medi-Cal in California, you have to be a low-income undocumented immigrant. Just like to qualify for Medicaid in California, you have to be a low-income citizen.
It's still easier for them to get it.
It would be just as easy for an undocumented immigrant to get state Medicaid in California as it would be for a low-income American. Right? And then you have to consider that they don't qualify for any of the federal benefits and no state benefits in most red states. So overall, they qualify for less benefits. It's simple.
Okay. Well, from what I've seen, the amount of money that go into illegal immigrants is outstanding and quite disgusting, in my opinion.
What is it? How much per year?
Billions.
How many?
Let me look it up.
Well, I mean, I could tell you if you're curious.
Go for it.
Yeah. Through access to emergency rooms on the federal level, they're funded around $5 to $10 billion per year for access to emergency resources. And then you have a couple billion in California, a couple billion in Illinois, a couple billion in New York, a couple million, I believe, in Colorado. So overall, I'll just make a happy estimate of around $50 to $60 billion that, it's a very liberal estimate, that they would receive for humanitarian needs in some social safety nets in some blue states.
That's billions of dollars that could go to citizens.
Do you know how much they pay in taxes per year?
They're undocumented. I don't see why they would pay taxes.
Because most employers require you to be working on a W-2, and undocumented immigrants can work on a W-2 with use of ITINs instead of SSNs. Undocumented immigrants pay $100 billion per year in taxes, so that means that, net speaking, they actually give $50 billion more than they take. And you just told me that that $50 billion that you thought they take net could have been directed towards citizens to really help this country. But now you're telling me that we should stop directing the $50 billion that they do pay net in taxes towards citizens and deport them? See, now you're a hypocrite. And, you know, I asked you a question earlier.
How do you pay taxes without a social security number?
Because you can get an ITIN. That's an individual taxpayer identification number.
So they are registered, they are documented.
Yeah, undocumented doesn't mean you're not documented anywhere. Undocumented means that you're not here legally.
How can you get documented if you're not here legally?
Because the IRS wants everybody to pay taxes, regardless if they're here legally or not. Like, you understand that the IRS will even tell like people that like will like steal a car to like report that stolen car and pay taxes on the capital
Yeah, the
gains.
IRS needs to be dismantled. That thing needs to go.
Yeah, the IRS requires everybody who is in this country to pay taxes.
Gosh, that's so weird. I didn't know that.
Okay, so now does this change your view?
I mean,
No.
it doesn't necessarily change my view as to the fact that I don't think illegal immigrants should receive resources outside of the government. Like,
Listen, I want to go back to something I said earlier, because
Okay.
you interrupted it midway through and started this tangent. So you said that you saw nothing wrong with the Trump administration violating the Constitution and illegally deporting an undocumented immigrant. So why do you think it's more wrong for an immigrant to commit a misdemeanor than is for a president to violate the Constitution?
I'm going to need you to repeat that one more time.
Oh, yeah, for sure, I'll repeat it. So this whole time you've been telling me how wrong it is for an undocumented immigrant to commit a misdemeanor when coming into the country, but you made it explicitly clear that you didn't think it was wrong when the Trump administration illegally deported an undocumented immigrant to Sikha in El Salvador. So why do you think it is worse for an immigrant to commit a misdemeanor than for our president to violate the Constitution?
Because why would we care what our government does illegally when they were illegal first? They made a crime first. Why would we care about making a crime, sending them back?
Oh, well, I think that this argument actually serves to your disadvantage. Because if you're telling us that you don't care if our federal government breaks the law to hurt the country, why should I care if an immigrant breaks the law to help the country?
I don't care if we illegally deport somebody because they committed a crime first.
Okay. So then the reason why you don't support undocumented immigration into the country has nothing to do with them breaking the law, right? And the whole eye for the eye, if you break a law, we'll break the law, that's not how the criminal justice system works. In fact, it works the opposite. If you break the law, then we will give you particular legal protections, and we will follow the law in your prosecution. Like, if we upheld if you break the law, therefore we will break the law, then like our country would be radically different in all ways, shapes, and form. Like, the Constitution literally describes how if you break a law, then we will follow the law and make sure you do too, and you have access to your protections. You are just belligerently disagreeing with the Constitution. Why is that? You're a traitor.
All right.
You're a traitor.
Let
I'm
me
gonna be honest.
let me break it down
You're a
real
big
quick.
fucking traitor. You know, like, for
Okay,
instance,
hold on.
The 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment guarantees due process to everybody that is subject to the jurisdiction of the U.S. inside of government behaviors, court proceedings, attitudes, etc. And you're telling me that you don't care what the 14th Amendment says, you don't care about our government holding to the law and granting due process to those that are subject to the jurisdiction thereof the U.S., and you don't think there's anything wrong when we violate it. You're telling us that you don't think there's anything wrong when we violate the law of the land and the core central principles that this country is built on and has been built on for hundreds of years. Yeah. So who's worse? You, who doesn't think there's anything wrong with violating the law of the land and the core central principles this country is built on and has been historically, or an undocumented immigrant that just wants to come in here and build a better life for them and their family and productively provide to the country, to the system, and to the economy? You're worse than them.
First of all, I'd like to break down my argument real quick. I do believe that they have the right to a process and that the government should uphold every single law. But in my personal opinion, I do not care that somebody is getting deported after committing a heinous crime to their original country.
That's a very fun way to say, I care about our government upholding the law, but I was a lie. I don't actually care about the government upholding the law.
The government should, by standard, uphold the law. But in my opinion,
wait.
why
If you think
do
that the
we...
government should, by standard, uphold the law, therefore you would care when they break the law. Dude, if you yield any other implication than you care when they break the law, such as you don't care when they break the law, then you don't hold to the virtue that they should, by standard, uphold the law.
They should uphold the law, However, I'm stating that in my personal opinion, I do not believe the country owes an illegal immigrant who has committed a crime the right to what's the word? I don't care that they go back to their country.
You don't think that our country owes them legal protections? Okay. So which amendment of the Constitution says that? Because I could be very clear the ones that make it clear they do. Like, for instance, the 14th Amendment, birthright, citizenship, due process, and equal protections. They all would say that if you're born in this country, and you're subject to the jurisdiction, if you're born in this country, you have a claim to birthright citizenship, given that you're subject to the jurisdiction thereof. You have a claim to the legal protection of equal protections, given that you're subject to the jurisdiction thereof, and you have a claim to birthright citizenship. You have a claim to due process, given that you're subject to the jurisdiction thereof. So it would follow that if undocumented immigrants are subject to the jurisdiction thereof, subject to U.S. law, subject to constitutional protections, that our country does owe them said constitutional protections per the language of the Constitution. How do we know that undocumented immigrants are subject to the protections of the Constitution? Because SCOTUS has ruled that they're subject to the jurisdictions of the Constitution. In 1982, we had a SCOTUS case by the name of Plyer v. Doe. Plyer v. Doe was a lawsuit where undocumented immigrants had alleged that they were not allowed to go through to public education for free. The reason that they launched this lawsuit is because they argued that this was a violation of the 14th Amendment right to equal protections, right? If citizens get it and there's no clear reason why we shouldn't, we should get it too. It made its way all the way up to SCOTUS, and then SCOTUS ruled in Plyer v. Doe that undocumented immigrants are subject to the jurisdiction of U.S. law and are subject to the protections issued by the Constitution, and specifically the 14th Amendment, meaning that our country does owe undocumented immigrants legal protections per the Constitution and the interpreters of the Constitution, that being the Supreme Court.
Correct, and they should uphold that.
Okay, so in agreeing, in conceding, in arguing that they should uphold that, you do think that it is demonstrably wrong for our government to not uphold that, and you think that it's demonstrably wrong for Donald Trump to contradict that.
Yes, he shouldn't have illegally deported him. However, I don't see how deporting a criminal who wasn't just a criminal by being here illegally got sent back home. If you were illegally in any other country in the world, they would deport you in a heartbeat, and they don't give you rights.
Hey. How do we know that they're undocumented if we don't give them due process?
I think it's pretty easy to see that there ain't no documents there.
So you'd say an exploration of documentation? That's due process.
Correct. Okay.
So you said the way to know that they're undocumented is by giving them due process. Well, you're arguing that you don't care if we do or not. So once again, back to the question. How do we know that they're undocumented without giving them due process?
Was the person that was deported a citizen?
No, he's an undocumented immigrant. So how do we know that an undocumented immigrant is an undocumented immigrant without giving them due process?
Well, how would they deport him if he wasn't?
Because they just assume he's an undocumented immigrant and deport him?
All right, that's wrong. First of all.
So then how do we know that an undocumented immigrant is an undocumented immigrant without giving them due process?
You're right. I mean, I would say that the system needs to be fixed as for how fast these processes go, because they are using resources. It's not cheap to keep people here in the United States trying to get them back to their country because their country doesn't want them back.
Answer my question.
These countries don't.
How can we successfully identify undocumented immigrants without giving undocumented immigrants legal protections under the law?
I'm going to be so honest with you. I kind of blanked out there. Can you repeat that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. How do we know that undocumented immigrants are truly undocumented immigrants without giving them legal protections, such as due process?
You can't.
Oh, you can't. Great. So now you understand
Correct.
why we should give everybody, including undocumented immigrants, legal protection.
We should for a certain extent, but what I'm trying to,
what
I
extent
guess,
should
get
we
a
not?
point.
To what extent should we not?
I think it should be a period of time. I think 3 months is a long time to be holding somebody in this country using our resources.
I don't even understand what that means. So after 3 months, we should stop denying undocumented immigrants due process? So at 3 months, how do we know that an undocumented immigrant is an undocumented immigrant without giving them due process?
I just said that they do need due process to figure out if they are undocumented.
Okay. So then they should deserve legal protections. And or when I said that earlier, you said to an extent. No, it's not to an extent. It's to all extents.
To every single one?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So now that we've agreed that undocumented immigrants deserve rights per the Constitution, I'm surprised it took me 30 minutes to get somebody that apparently wants to uphold law and order to conclude that. You'd obviously therefore condemn Donald Trump for contradicting and violating the Constitution in the removal of some of them. Once again, going back to the question, can we agree it is worse to violate the Constitution as president than to violate a misdemeanor as a non-citizen?
It's worse to violate the Constitution.
Okay, so then
but we still need.
So just in there, it's worse to violate the Constitution. So then you think what Donald Trump has done and is doing is worse than what undocumented immigrants have done. So here's my following question. Since you've now agreed that what Donald Trump is doing is worse what undocumented immigrants have done, if what undocumented immigrants have done would justify their expulsion from the country, and Donald Trump and his actions are worse, why do they not justify at least his expulsion from the White House?
Because he's human, things happen, and I do not expect him to be a perfect president. In fact, there are many presidents in many situations where even Kamala herself have created issues, and I do not believe to holding people to perfect standards, but
Okay.
I will say
So
that there are
if-
consequences to actions,
if-
and
if
I do
holding-
believe that
if
there should be
holding Trump-
consequences.
If holding Trump to a standard to not violate the Constitution is unruly, why can't I say that holding undocumented immigrants to not violate a misdemeanor is unruly?
I think if a illegal immigrant has not caused any other issues, they have not committed any other crimes, that they should be given the process to gain their citizenship. I believe that the process in the United States should be easier for immigrants because our country is immigrants. We have a beautiful country that is so diverse, and I think that the system should be easier for these immigrants to get in and create a life for their family. However, I will say that again, I do believe in consequences to actions. So if you come here illegally and you commit a crime, or which I have seen cases where it just seems very unprovoked to deport somebody. But however, they have gone more after criminals, and I appreciate that. So
That's
I
not
think
true. So far in Donald Trump's second term, he's deported less violent criminals compared to Biden's term. That's because Donald Trump is targeting all undocumented immigrants, and the Biden-Harris administration specifically targeted those with prior violent offenses. You're telling me here that the deportation policy of Kamala Harris is preferable to that of Trump.
I did not see any plans from Kamala Harris's campaign.
Yeah, she would
Say
just
that one more time?
Kamala. She would just continue the trend of Biden and Obama of focusing on deporting and removing undocumented immigrants with prior violent offenses.
The whole reason I didn't vote for her was because, to be honest,
I'll
her
move
whole
on. Concede that you think her immigration and deportation policy was preferable to Trump's deportation.